Our next broadcast was a radio series of mystery and terror tales produced and directed by Jock McGregor for the Mutual Network between March 18th and September 9th of 1945. Each week after the sounding of the great gong, host Philip Clark observed that the mysteriously silent keeper of the book has opened the ponderous door to the secret vault wherein is kept the great sealed book in which is recorded all the secrets and mysteries of mankind throughout the ages. Here are tales of every kind, tales of murder, of madness, of dark deeds, strange and terrible beyond all belief. We present to you The Sealed Book on HOJO Radio.
The Sealed Book. Once again, the keeper of the book has opened the ponderous door to the secret vault, wherein is kept the great sealed book, in which is recorded all the secrets and mysteries of mankind through the ages. Here are tales of every kind, tales of murder, of madness, of dark deeds, strange and terrible beyond all belief. Keeper of the book, I would know what tale we tell this time. Open the great book and let us read. Slowly, the great book opens. One by one, the keeper of the book turns the pages and stops. The strange story of a handsome and mysterious man who, wherever he went, caused fear and grief. A tale titled, My Beloved Must Die. Here is the tale, My Beloved Must Die, as it is written in the pages of the sealed book. Our story begins in a large, smartly furnished apartment. Beautiful Joan Sanders sits at a desk, a pen in her hand. Her face is white and tense as she begins to write.
Dear Mr. Rand, as you have long been a friend of the family, I'm writing this letter to you so that you may know why I'm going to do what I must. Believe me, there's no other way out. I know if you were here, you'd say murder's never justified, but I feel positive that in this case it is. I find it difficult to gather my thoughts so that I may write to you exactly what's happened. I suppose it all began that afternoon 2 months ago when Millie returned from her vacation.
Oh, Joan, I had a wonderful time. Everything was just perfect. And, Joan, I met a man.
Oh, no wonder everything was perfect.
Oh, Joan, just wait until you meet him. His name is Victor Duval.
Oh, tell me about him.
Well, to begin with, he's 32 years old, a little over 6 feet tall, very broad-shouldered, is dark-complected, and has the most beautiful black eyes I've ever seen. Oh, really, Joan, he's handsome enough to be a Hollywood star.
But, Millie, what about Frank? Have you forgotten you're engaged to him?
No, but, well, perhaps we aren't really suited for each other.
You grew up together, and you know how Frank loves you.
Yes, I know, but Frank seems so young and immature.
Has Victor told you that he loves you?
No, but he will in time. I feel certain of it.
Well, promise me, Millie, that until that time you won't break off with Frank.
All right, Joan. I promise. Oh, my goodness. It's 5 o'clock already.
Have you got a date?
Yes, Victor's calling for me at 6. We're having dinner together and then going to the theater. Oh, Joan, I was never so happy in all my life.
Good evening. You must be Joan, Millie's sister.
Yes. And, of course, you're Victor. Come in, won't you?
Thank you.
Millie isn't quite finished dressing.
You'll forgive me for staring, but I didn't believe anyone could be as beautiful as Millie until you opened that door.
Oh, you're very kind.
Oh, here are some flowers I brought for you.
For me?
Yes. Frankly, I want Millie's sister to like me.
Hello, Victor.
Millie! Millie, you're a vision of loveliness in that white gown. Here, this should go well with it.
Oh, Victor. What a beautiful blue orchid. Thank you so much.
Just matches the shade of your eyes.
This is going to be a perfect evening. I just know it is. Isn't it, Victor?
Millie hadn't exaggerated in her description of Victor. There was something about him that set him apart from other men. It was more than his looks, his voice. Perhaps it was his extraordinary eyes. They were very large, deep, black eyes. And when he looked at you, they seemed to exert a hidden power, an almost hypnotic power. Whatever it was that set Victor apart from other men, you sensed it the moment you saw him. Later that evening, the doorbell rang. I opened the door to find Frank there. Hello, Frank.
Can I see Millie a moment, Joan?
Well, she isn't here. She's gone out for the evening.
Gone out? With DeVal?
Why, yes.
So that's why she refused to see me tonight. Might have known it. What do you think of DeVal?
Well, I only saw him for a few minutes. He seems very nice.
You women are all alike. We're all taken in by his good looks and his fine manners. But I tell you, he's not to be trusted. Something strange about him.
Strange about him? Well, what do you mean?
It's hard to put into words. Wherever DeVal goes, trouble seems to follow. But DeVal apparently has nothing to do with it. Somehow I always have a feeling he's behind it.
Oh, Frank, aren't you letting your imagination run away with you?
All right, I may be wrong. But I want you to promise me one thing. That you'll, keep a close watch on Millie. I don't want to see anything happen to her that she'll regret.
In the weeks that followed, Millie saw Victor constantly. Night after night, they went to shows, nightclubs, parties. Millie was rarely home before dawn. Almost overnight, she had changed from a sweet, unspoiled girl of 21 to a woman I no longer knew. Life to her had become Victor, and the excitement and gaiety he represented. Oh, hello, Frank. Come in, won't you?
Thanks, Joan. Suppose Millie's out with DeVal as usual?
Yes, she is. And, Frank, I'm worried. So terribly worried about her.
Oh. So at last you're beginning to realize that DeVal isn't just another man. There might be something to what I told you.
Yes.
Well, you have good reason to worry about DeVal.
What do you mean?
I don't know who DeVal is or where he came from. But in the short time we've known him, he's ruined several people we know and has broken up more than one home.
Frank, what are you saying?
You didn't know that our friend DeVal is a gambler of the wildest type, did you?
No.
A few nights ago, he won $40,000 from Dan Richards. That ruined Richards and broke up his home.
Oh, poor Dan. And his wife, Helen.
Yes, and speaking of wives, did you know that Doris Anderson has filed suit for divorce?
Doris Anderson?
Yes. It seems that one night DeVal was dancing with Doris, and he said to her, "What a pity you're married." Now Doris is in Reno.
Oh, Frank, it just doesn't seem possible that anyone could want to do such things.
Joan knows there are only a few things that DeVal has caused. Everywhere he goes, he seems to create attention, bring about trouble, delights in it. I tell you, there's something unnatural about him.
Frank, what can we do?
I was hoping that if we just let Millie alone, she'd get over this infatuation for DeVal, but she hasn't. I'm going to wait here until she returns. Then we're going to have it out, once and for all.
And now to continue the story. My beloved must die, as it is written in the sealed book. The hours slipped by as Frank and Joan awaited the homecoming of Millie and her escort, Victor DeVal. A little after 3 a.m., the door to the apartment was quietly opened, and Millie slipped in, followed by Victor.
Good evening, Joan.
Oh, Joan, I didn't expect to find... Frank, what are you doing here at 3 o'clock in the morning?
It's time you and I had a little talk, Millie.
Frank, you're not going to lecture me, are you?
Millie, you must listen to me. Can't you see what DeVal's doing to you? He's making you cold and cynical like himself. There's something evil about him. His eagerness to create trouble, to see people unhappy. One time you would have despised him. Now you've changed. You've become like him.
Oh, really, Frank, you're going too far.
Millie, you know I love you. I'm only saying this for your own good.
I'm tired of your constantly interfering in my life. I think our engagement's a mistake.
Millie, what are you saying?
Millie, you don't mean that. No, I love you and that I can't live without you.
I'm afraid you'll have to, Frank. Here's your ring. We're through.
All right, Millie. I know when I'm licked. But I warn you, Val will bring you nothing but heartbreak if you don't give him up. Someday he'll stand smiling at you, just the way he's smiling at me now. And then you'll see him for what he really is.
Morning, Joan. Anything in the morning paper? Joan, what's wrong? You're so pale.
Millie, Frank was killed early this morning while driving home.
Killed?
Yes. The paper says he ran off the road while traveling at a fast speed and hit a telephone pole.
Oh, it's dreadful. He's so young. Joan, why are you looking at me like that? You think it was my fault that he was speeding and ran off the road, don't you? Go ahead, say it.
Your fault? I don't know. Somehow I keep thinking it was Victor's fault. We were all so happy, contented until he ended our lives.
You haven't any right to talk about Victor like that. You know I love him.
Oh, he's cast a spell over you as he has over so many others. And in the end, it can only lead to disaster for you as it has for Frank. Victor's evil, I know that now.
Stop saying that. Do you hear? Stop saying that. He isn't evil, and I'll never give him up.
During the weeks that followed Frank's death, I scarcely saw Millie. I sensed that she was avoiding me, afraid of the accusation she imagined she saw in my eyes. I knew that she was still seeing Victor every night. I began to hear stories from a dozen sources about the two of them and the life that Millie was leading. As time went by, Victor became involved in one scandal after another, and Millie with him. One night I went to his home determined to have it out with him. Victor, you and I must have a talk.
But of course, Joan. What is it you wish to say to me?
Victor, you mustn't see Millie anymore.
Oh? May I ask why?
You know very well why. Since you've entered Millie's life, there's been nothing but trouble. Before Millie met you, she was unspoiled and contented, ready to marry a nice boy, but you changed all that.
Perhaps, my dear, it's a change for the better.
You know that isn't true. If Millie weren't in love with you, she'd never be leading the life she is. You've taken her and tried to change her into someone like yourself. Someone who's evil and corrupt.
You know, you're very beautiful when you're angry.
You're amused by all this, aren't you? You enjoy knowing I'm worried. Well, all right, but just remember, you'd better not see Millie again.
Joan, you wouldn't by any chance be forbidding me to see Millie because you happen to be in love with me yourself?
Me? In love with you?
Yes. Does that sound so incredible?
What?
Many women are in love with me.
You're the last man in the world I'd fall in love with. You're nothing but an egomaniac with an overwhelming desire to possess and to destroy.
And yet, from the moment we met, you have been in love with me, haven't you? Oh, you fought against it, told yourself I'm a scoundrel, which I admit I am, and you've tried to forget me. But you can't.
That isn't true. I've never loved you, and I never will.
You have, and you still do. You dreamed of my taking you in my arms like this. You've hated yourself for it.
Victor, let go of me.
You do love me, don't you?
No, I don't love you. Do you hear? I don't. Oh, Victor.
Now tell me you don't love me.
Oh, darling. Even now, a month after that night that Victor took me into his arms, I'm confused. How can a person hate Victor as I do and yet love him at the same time? I know he's evil, that he's ruined the lives of many people. Millie's, Frank's, perhaps my own. And yet, in spite of that, when I'm with him, it doesn't seem to matter. When he called at the apartment a few nights later, I was happy to see him. Victor.
Good evening, Joan. May I come in?
Yes, of course.
Thank you.
Millie isn't home yet.
I haven't come to see Millie, but her sister.
Oh, what did you want to see me about, Victor?
About us?
Oh, Victor, you must forget what happened that night. Perhaps I do love you. I don't know, but in any case, it isn't fair to Millie. Oh, please, Victor, if you care for either of us, you'll go away. Leave us alone.
In your heart, you know you don't want me to go. You want me close to you, as I am now.
No, Victor. No. Darling, you shouldn't.
Forgive me.
Millie.
I should have made more noise when I opened the door.
Oh, hello, Millie.
I hope you're not angry with me, Victor, for having turned up at such an inopportune moment.
Please, Millie, you must let me explain.
There's nothing to explain, Joan. It isn't your fault, it's Victor's. This isn't the first time I've caught him making love to other women. But to make love to my own sister behind my...
Come now, Millie. You aren't being fair to me. You know I shouldn't hesitate to make love to Joan in front of you, would I?
No, you wouldn't. Nothing matters to you, nothing. You're no good and you never will be.
But, my dear Millie, I've always told you that I'm a rogue and a scoundrel. It isn't my fault if you took me seriously.
I was a fool, an utter fool to fall in love with you.
Yes, I'm afraid you were. I only hope that you're not going to be difficult like the others were.
No, Victor. You needn't worry about that. I won't come crawling to you like the others did. I've got too much pride for that.
Millie! Oh, Victor. Victor, let go of me. I must go to her.
No. Stay here. She'll get over it.
How could you speak to her like that? Haven't you any heart?
No, my dear. None at all, I'm afraid.
Oh, I hate you. Do you hear me? I hate you.
You only think you do, darling. But you don't.
Oh, let go of me. I'm going to her.
All right, Joan. Though I don't think it'll be much use.
Millie! Oh, Millie! Oh, darling, what's wrong? That bottle. Millie, what have you done? Victor, come quickly.
Yes, Joan? What is it?
Millie's taken poison.
Taken poison? You don't say.
Oh, don't just stand there. We've got to do something.
Joan, it burns so.
Oh, you're going to be all right, darling. Victor, get a doctor.
I'm afraid it's too late, Joan. I've seen this happen before.
You and Frank were right, Joan. He is evil. I came to realize it too late. Oh.
Millie!
I'm afraid you're wasting your time. She's dead.
And now to continue the story, My Beloved Must Die, as it is written in the sealed book. Joan Sanders, her face white and tense, sits at her desk, writing to a family friend, explaining why she is going to do what she must.
It's been a month now since Millie died. A month in which I've suffered all the torments that she must have undergone when Frank died. At times I fear for my sanity. I know I should forget the past and live for the future, but I can't. For the evil of the past is with me in the present. This afternoon Victor phoned me. It was the first I'd heard from him since that night Millie died. When I heard his voice, I'm ashamed to say I was thrilled. Thrilled to hear the voice of the man who's responsible for Frank's death and Millie's. In spite of everything, I know I still love him. There's only one way out. Victor Duval must not be allowed to go on ruining lives. I expect him here any minute now. So I must close this letter. What I'm going to do must be done. Victor.
Hello, Joan.
Victor, come in, won't you?
Thank you. You're not looking very well, Joan. Have you been ill?
Yes. Ever since Millie's death.
You shouldn't think about it, Joan. It's in the past.
You don't feel the slightest twinge of remorse, do you?
Not the slightest, darling. Now, what about changing into an evening gown so that we can do the town?
Oh, you're heartless. Inhuman. There's no other way out.
My dear, whatever are you talking about?
This, Victor.
A gun.
Yes, Victor.
Don't be foolish, my darling. Put the gun away and get dressed, eh?
I could hardly miss you at this distance.
Well, what are you waiting for? Why don't you shoot?
Even knowing you're going to die doesn't frighten you, does it?
No, my darling, no. You see, nothing in this world frightens me. Not even death.
Oh, you are inhuman. That horrible smile on your face. Scoffing at me, at everyone. You live only to hurt and to destroy, don't you?
Yes, I despise you all. Every human being. Your righteousness, your smugness, your futile attempts to achieve happiness. There's nothing I delight in more than to send you down into defeat. To watch you suffer, kill each other, commit suicide.
Oh, you fiend.
Yes.
Well, you've done your last evil deed. Don't you fall. I've shot you.
Evidently, you missed.
Well, I won't miss this time. Why don't you fall?
Your gun seems to be empty.
Oh, I couldn't have missed you. I couldn't have.
No, you didn't miss me.
And why aren't you dead?
No one can kill me. No one. Joan, don't you know who I am?
Who are you?
Look into my eyes. Look deeply. Now, do you know with whom you have fallen in love?
You're the devil.
Yes, darling. The devil himself.
Oh, no. No, I won't be in love with you. I won't be.
Oh, but you will, darling. You will. Even though you know who I am. You'll be in love with me forever. Forever.
And so ends the tale. My beloved must die, as it is written in the sealed book. A few days after Joan Sanders had unsuccessfully attempted to kill Victor Duval, she suffered a nervous breakdown. When the doctors questioned her, she kept repeating over and over that she'd fallen in love with the devil. And now, keeper of the book, before you close the great book, show us the tale we tell next time. This one, yes, the tale of a scientist who ventured into the unknown and whose experiment brought disaster into his laboratory. A tale titled Beware of Tomorrow. Be sure to be with us again next time, when the sound of the great gong heralds another strange and exciting tale from The Sealed Book. The Sealed Book, written by Bob Arthur and David Cogan, is produced and directed by Jock McGregor.
You're listening to HOJO Radio. More classic old-time radio coming your way next.
The Sealed Book. Once again, the keeper of the book has opened the ponderous door to the secret vault, wherein is kept the great sealed book, in which is recorded all the secrets and mysteries of mankind through the ages. Here are tales of every kind, tales of murder, of madness, of dark deeds, strange and terrible beyond all belief. Keeper of the book, I would know what tale we tell this time. Open the great book and let us read. Slowly the great book opens. One by one, the keeper of the book turns the pages and stops. The strange story of a scientist who delved into the unknown with frightening results. A tale titled Beware of Tomorrow. Here is the tale, Beware of Tomorrow, as it is written in the pages of the sealed book. Our story begins as Sheriff Ramsey brings his car to a stop in front of an old mansion in a desolate section of New England. A young man gets out of the car and speaks to the sheriff.
Thanks very much, Sheriff, for bringing me out here.
That's quite all right, young feller. Do you know Professor Clark? The man that lives in this old mansion?
Why, yes. I was Professor Clark's laboratory assistant back in college. Why?
Well, there's been some talk in town of running him and that man of his, that Barton fellow, right out of the county.
But what has anybody got against the professor? Well, there isn't a milder man in the world.
Well, maybe so. But folks has got wind of what happened at the state penitentiary over in Hillvale last year.
Sure, if you're talking in riddles. What did happen?
The professor went over there when they hanged Richards, that hold-up killer. And the warden give the professor the murderer's brain.
So what?
Folks think he's keeping that brain in a big glass jar and making it grow.
Oh, that's perfectly ridiculous.
Well, I'm not saying I ever believed it. But it'd be a good idea if the professor give folks a notion of what he's really doing in that laboratory of his with that Barton fellow to help him. Then maybe the talk would die down.
I understand. All right, Sheriff, I'll mention it to him.
Well, then I'll be getting on. Good night, young fella.
Good night.
A few moments after Dr. Richard Dale had knocked on the door of the ancient mansion, a frail, white-haired old man answered the door. An old man who could hardly speak in his joy as he gripped Richard Dale's hand. He led the way down a long hall to a great room where strange equipment took up almost every inch of space. Retorts and electric furnaces, generators, batteries, great glass vats. Dr. Dale stared around him in intense curiosity as Professor Clark helped him off with his hat and coat.
There. Now sit down, Dick. Sit down and let me get a look at you.
I got your letter, and it made me so curious I took the first train. You promised me a surprise. Is this it, this amazing laboratory?
No, my boy. We'll come to that in a moment, after you've met Barton, my assistant. Oh, Barton!
Yes, Professor?
Dr. Dale has arrived. I want you to meet him.
Why, of course. How do you do, Dr. Dale?
How do you do?
We've both of us been looking forward to your visit.
Yes, the professor's letter made me so curious I couldn't stay away.
Barton, is Alpha making some coffee?
Yes, he started it when we heard the car.
Alpha? Who's he?
Our general man of all work.
Truly amazing fellow. Here he comes now.
What in the world?
Shall Alpha serve coffee?
Good heavens.
I said you'd be surprised, Dick.
He's not human. He's a machine, a robot.
Yes, my boy. An artificial man made from metal and synthetic brain tissue.
A machine man. But walking and then talking.
He's not very pretty, but then the professor was mostly interested in making sure he'd work.
Well, he must weigh a ton.
No, only about 300 pounds. You see, Alpha is mostly aluminum and other light alloys. Inside his aluminum plates are some new batteries I've devised, together with miles of fine silver wire and a dozen electric motors, to give you only the highlights.
Shall Alpha serve coffee now?
Yes, Alpha. Put it on this table here and pour a cup for Dr. Dale.
Alpha, do so.
I still can't make myself believe it.
Alpha poured coffee.
Go on, Dick. Take it.
Oh, yes, of course. Thank you. Well, he looks clumsy, but he poured the coffee as well as a man could.
Yes, my boy. Alpha has capabilities you'd never suspect to look at him. We won't need you any more tonight, Alpha.
You can go back to your room now.
Alpha goes.
Be sure to switch off your batteries. They're going to need recharging tomorrow.
Alpha understands.
That's the most incredible thing I ever saw.
You see, Dick, like any machine, he's completely inactive when his batteries have been switched off, but his brain continues to function. It's an artificial protoplasm that I spent 8 years creating. It's the only thing that makes him different from any other machine.
But it means that Alpha can think. Think like a man.
A machine that can walk and talk and think.
But Alpha isn't the only surprise I have for you, Dick.
He's not.
No, I have another one, even more astonishing. But you'll have to wait until morning to learn what that is. Barton will show you to your room, Dick.
Of course, Professor. I'll see you in the morning, then.
Yes. We'll have a long talk tomorrow. Good night.
Good night, Professor Clark.
Oh, Dr. Dale.
Yes, Barton?
Could we talk for a minute before I show you to your room?
Why, yes, of course.
It occurs to me that the professor forgot to tell you why he asked you here. It was his hope that you'd stay indefinitely and help us carry forward the work we've been doing here.
Stay indefinitely? Why? Oh, I have my own work.
Now, don't say no yet. Just think, Dr. Dale. Alpha is stronger and more rugged than a man. He needs no rest, no food, yet he can do the work of 3 men. He can plow, reap, run machinery. Think how much drudgery a million like him could lift from mankind's shoulders.
Yes. Yes, that's true.
And already Alpha is technically old-fashioned. Professor Clark has blueprints for a new machine man as superior to Alpha as an aeroplane is to a bicycle. We want you to help us build them.
Well, I'm certainly tempted to stay. Perhaps I could arrange it.
Good. Then I'll show you to your room now, if you wish.
Yes, I am sleepy.
If you'll just come this way.
His mind in a whirl of amazement, Dr. Dale retired and finally fell into an uneasy sleep. How long he had slept he did not know, when abruptly he woke with a scream ringing in his ears. The cry came from downstairs. Dr. Dale leaped from his bed and raced down to the lower hall. In the lower hall, he found Barton hammering on the heavy door of the laboratory.
Professor Clark! Professor Clark, what's wrong?
Barton, what's happened?
Professor Clark, I heard him call for help. The door's locked.
We've got to break it down.
Yes, come, put your shoulder beside mine.
Right. Are you ready?
Ready.
Then shove. Oh, once again. All right, once more. Professor Clark, where are you?
Professor Clark, he's not here.
Yes. Yes, he's here. Lying on the floor beside the window. He's been murdered.
It was Alpha. It must have been. No one else could have done it.
Where is Alpha?
The window, it's open. He went out that way.
We've got to go after him.
I'm afraid it's hopeless. At night in these woods, we couldn't possibly find him.
No. No, you're right, of course.
It'll be morning soon. Then I think he'll come back. He knows that he can only go for a few more hours before his batteries must be recharged.
But, Barton, why did he kill the man who created him?
The professor has been thinking of destroying Alpha, because he's now technically out of date. Perhaps that's the reason Alpha killed him.
Poor Professor Clark. We'll have to notify the police.
That is only the sheriff. In any case, I think we should wait until morning, and then report the professor's death as an accident.
An accident?
Yes. If the authorities learn the truth, our research may be stopped. And when Professor Clark has achieved so much, can we let it go for nothing?
Why, no, of course not.
Dr. Hale, we must carry on his work for him.
Yes, that's what he would want.
Then you will help me to continue it? You'll stay?
Yes. Yes, I'll stay.
And now to continue the story. Beware of tomorrow, as it is written in the sealed book. Greatly upset by Professor Clark's tragic death, Dr. Dale returned to bed, and at last fell again into an uneasy sleep, a sleep in which he was haunted by dreams of Alpha, the metal monster Professor Clark had created. When he awoke, the sun was shining, and he could hear Barton moving about downstairs. He dressed and went down to find Barton getting breakfast ready.
Good morning, Dr. Dale.
Good morning, Barton. Any sign of Alpha?
Not yet. I thought that while you ate, I might outline some of the problems facing us.
Yes, that's a good idea.
You see, Though Alpha's brain is of synthetic protoplasm, it is not completely artificial.
I was wondering about that. Sheriff Ramsey mentioned that the professor had secured a human brain from...
From an executed killer, yes. The professor found that to give life to his artificial brain tissue, it was necessary to add a small amount of tissue from a real brain.
I see. The real tissue gave life to the rest, of course.
Yes, but in this instance, it may have tainted Alpha's brain with the murderous impulse of a killer.
It sounds perfectly plausible.
So our first problem will be to obtain untainted brain tissues to blend with the artificial tissues we will make according to the professor's formula.
Well, that should give us no trouble. I can get what we need through the research laboratories with which I'm connected.
Then that solves our worst problem. The rest will be matters of detail. Fortunately, there is enough equipment here to build a dozen or so robots.
Like Alpha, you mean?
No, indeed. The far more advanced type Professor Clark was perfecting. Oh, if you finished your breakfast, I have something to show you.
Yes, I'm through. I don't feel much like eating after last night.
Then come with me to the laboratory, and I'll show you the second surprise that Professor Clark had in store for you. Here we are. Now, what I'm going to show you is in this box.
Not another robot.
Yes. A second mechanical man the professor built a few months ago. This one, though, was a failure.
You mean it wouldn't work?
It worked too well.
I don't follow you.
It was too intelligent. Professor Clark called it Beta, and Beta's brain power was greater than that of any human scientist who ever lived. But Beta was insane. Good heavens. He represented, however, a tremendous technical advance. Look.
It looks exactly like a human being.
Yes. Professor Clark used me for a model when he built Beta.
It's an excellent likeness.
Touch the face, Doctor.
All right. It feels smooth and rubbery with a hard surface underneath.
The surface is a new plastic Professor Clark developed with which he could imitate exactly the appearance of human skin. Underneath is an aluminum body on which the plastic was baked.
I see.
Beta's hair, eyes, and teeth are all artificial, too. But he walked and talked and acted so much like a human being that no man alive would have guessed his secret.
No, you would have fooled me completely. Did you say he was insane?
From the human viewpoint, yes. He considered himself superior to the human race. With his enormous brain power, he intended to make himself ruler of the world. Oh, you're joking. Not in the least. That was why Professor Clark destroyed him just in time. He had made plans to take over this laboratory and construct dozens of mechanical men like himself. And then, with their help, he was going to enslave all mankind.
Barton, if that could happen once, it might happen again. I don't believe we should continue Professor Clark's work after all.
Oh, there's no danger now, Doctor. You see, Beta also had a brain which contained tissues taken from that of the condemned murderer. But we will select the brain tissues we use from the highest types that are available.
Well, in any case, we must proceed with the utmost caution.
Of course, Doctor. Listen.
Someone's come into the house.
It's Alpha. He's come back.
Alpha? We may need a weapon, Barton.
No, I can control him. Alpha! Alpha, come here.
Alpha, come.
Alpha, you killed Professor Clark. Why did you do it?
Professor said he would destroy Alpha.
And you killed him because of that?
Alpha not want to be destroyed.
But you're just a machine. What difference does it make to you?
Alpha is machine that lives. Alpha stronger than you. Alpha better than you.
Alpha, be quiet. We want to know where you've been. Did anyone see you?
2 men saw Alpha.
What do you mean?
2 men driving automobiles saw him.
And what did they do?
They tried hit Alpha with automobile.
And then what happened?
Alpha stopped automobile.
Alpha killed one man.
Killed him?
Other man ran into woods. Alpha not find him. Alpha come back.
We can't keep this a secret. No matter what happens, we must notify the authorities at once.
Wait, let me think. We can't...
The bell. There's someone at the door.
I'll see who it is. You stay here.
But what about Alpha?
I'll switch off his batteries, and then he can't move. There. And now I'll see who's at the door.
And now to continue the story, beware of tomorrow, as it is written in the sealed book. Dr. Dale waited tensely as Barton went to answer the doorbell. He heard the door open and recognized the excited voice of Sheriff Ramsey speaking. Then a moment later, Barton came back into the laboratory, followed by the sheriff, who held a revolver in his hand.
But, Sheriff, if you'd only let me explain...
Never mind that. You're coming with me, both of you. The professor, too. Where is he?
Professor Clark is dead, Sheriff.
Dead?
He was killed last night when an experiment he was engaged in went wrong.
An experiment, eh? I suppose it was an experiment that crushed the life out of Jed Thompson an hour ago down the road and scared Fred Jennings so bad all he can do is jabber about monsters.
It's true. The thing that killed both the professor and Thompson is an experiment. It's standing there behind you.
Behind me? No! There. Man made out of machinery.
Don't be alarmed, Sheriff. It's perfectly harmless now. It is a machine man which Professor Clark built. Unfortunately, it got out of control.
I don't believe it.
I don't blame you, Sheriff, but that's the truth.
I think I can convince you.
What are you doing? Stand still or I'll shoot.
I'm simply going to switch Alpha on. There. Now he can move and speak as well as you or me.
That thing talk? You're lying. You're up to something.
Alpha, will you tell the sheriff that it was you who killed Mr. Thompson?
Alpha killed man. Man tried hit Alpha with car.
Why, so that's what the professor was doing all this time. Building that thing.
Now, Sheriff, surely you realize that we are not murderers.
Oh, maybe not. But you're coming to jail just the same. You're partly responsible anyhow.
But, Sheriff...
Anyway, it's for your own protection. There's a mob on the way out here, and they're going to burn this place down. I got to put you in jail for your own safety. That mob's ready to lynch you right now.
Burn the place down.
That's what I said. So turn that machine thing off and come along. We ain't got much time.
No. All this equipment, machinery, the professor's notes, they must not be destroyed. We must stop them.
Yes, Sheriff, a loss to science.
Never mind science. You got your own skins to worry about. That mob means business, so let's get started.
I'm afraid we can't do that, Sheriff.
I've got a six-shooter here that says different.
We have no choice, Barton.
Oh, yes, we have. Alpha, take the gun away from this man.
Alpha will do.
What are you doing? Stop him. You stop him or I'll... No. No, let go of me.
Stop him! Stop him!
Too late, Dr. Dale.
Alpha's crushed him.
Yes, Dr. Dale. The sheriff is dead.
Now you are a murderer.
In a good cause. The life of one man or of a dozen men cannot stand in my way.
You don't expect me to keep silent about this, do you?
I think you will. Alpha? Alpha!
He doesn't answer.
His batteries have gone dead. The last burst of energy must have drained them dry. But it makes no difference.
I think it does. A big difference. There. See this? Sheriff Ramsey's revolver. With 3 bullets still in it. Put your hands up.
I must explain something to you, Doctor.
You can talk, but if you move, I shall shoot.
I only want to say that nothing is going to interfere with my plan to build more of the improved form of robot that Professor Clark perfected before his death. Robots who look and act so much like men, no one can detect them.
They'll never be built. I intend to destroy all of Professor Clark's notes.
They will be built. By me. I shall build 10, 100, 1,000. Then I shall lead them with their superior intelligence to the mastery of the world.
You're mad. Of course I should have guessed it.
No, Doctor, that's not the answer. I shall tell you the truth. And then you must die.
Stand still or I'll kill you.
You remember last night when the professor said he had another surprise for you? An even greater surprise than Alpha?
Yes?
That surprise, Doctor, was Beta, the second robot. So perfect it looked like a man, but so intelligent that human beings were his children in comparison.
But Beta was destroyed.
No, Doctor. Beta was not destroyed. But you must be destroyed.
Stand back. Stand back, I say. All right, then, I shall shoot.
And now, Doctor, your bullets are gone.
You aren't even hurt.
Bullets cannot harm me. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Beta, the second robot, was not destroyed.
But I saw him.
What you saw was only an initial attempt that failed. The real Beta still exists. You see, Doctor, I am Beta.
You?
Yes. I, too, am what you would call a mechanical man. And now, you must die.
No. No. Stay away from me. Stay away. No!
And so ends the tale. Beware of tomorrow, as it is written in the sealed book. Shortly after Dr. Dale's murder, a fire swept through the old mansion, burning it to the ground. To this day, the ruins are avoided by the natives, for cursed is the ground where evil has dwelt. And now, keeper of the book, before you close the great book, show us the tale we tell next time. This one? Ah, yes. The story of a man who escaped punishment for a murder he committed, only to find that justice has a strange way of working itself out. The tale is titled, Murder Must Be paid for. Be sure to be with us again next time, when the sound of the great gong heralds another strange and exciting tale from the Sealed Book. The Sealed Book, written by Bob Arthur and David Cogan, is produced and directed by Jock McGregor.
Our next broadcast is a supernatural fantasy series that ran from 1943 through 1945. There were 78 episodes produced altogether. The show's strength was stories from famous writers of the two genres, including Robert Louis Stevenson, Victor Hugo, Edgar Allan Poe, and even Charles Dickens. One of the more unusual aspects of the show was that there was no music, other than between scenes. Some have claimed that this lack of music helps to keep the show from being dated, as it remains fresh to this day. We present to you The Weird Circle on HOJO Radio.
Out of the past, phantoms of a world gone by speak again their immortal tale, The Curse of the Mantle.
The bell has been tolling since the procession began. Since sundown, its dismal clang has beat upon the town, rung upon it like hammer upon anvil, tolling for the damned. They are bearing the mantle of Lady Eleanor to be publicly burned. And from where I stand, here in the dim cemetery above my own grave, I can see the procession moving slowly through the street. George Helwys is at the head. Behind him, upon a litter, gleams the magnificent mantle. How many eyes, sick with disease, watch this procession? How many dead like myself listen to the tread of their feet? How many recall the events that led to this feverish evening in spring? It begins when these dead walked and these diseased laughed. It begins in her uncle's, the governor's mansion, in the room with a great mirror. The chandelier was ablaze with candles, and she stood there, the Lady Eleanor, gazing at herself in the mirror. Behind her sat George Helwys, her fiancé.
You've stared at your image in the glass a long time, Ellen.
Yes, I have.
Ah, the vanity of women. Are you dissatisfied at what you see, my love?
Are you, George?
Oh, am I dissatisfied with the lovely summer's day? But come, look at me. I'm by far the more eloquent mirror. That one is silent, while I proclaim the beauty I see.
Yet the real mirror is more honest, for it shows me as I really am.
Then I am its voice.
A man's voice.
And a lover's.
Yet I am not satisfied. I am but another weed in the garden.
What is it, milady? You stare so earnestly at yourself.
Oh, do I? I've only been imagining how I shall look in my new mantle, George.
Oh, the mantle again.
It is beautiful. Nothing like it has ever been seen. It is woven and stitched as if it were the work of gods.
Or the work of devils.
Are you listening to foolish tales, George?
I do not know whether they are foolish tales, Ellen. I do know, though, that there is something uncanny about your seamstress, Mrs. Willows. True, she has cause for being half mad, bedridden all these years, but it's something else. There have been hints and outright accusations about it.
Such as?
That she is in league with the devil.
Oh.
Yes, laugh, milady. Call it schoolboy fears or what you will. Nonetheless, I am a God-fearing man, and I do not trust her.
What would you have me do, George?
Do not take the mantle, Ellen. Do not wear it. Do not ever go to Mrs. Willows again.
I am going for it this day. In fact, I'm going now.
Will you accompany me?
You will not listen to me?
No.
All right, then. I will go with you. Now. She doesn't answer, Ellen.
She might be sleeping. Open the door. We'll wake her.
It's dim. I cannot see anything.
Oh, here. Here, my fine birds. In the bed, see? Mrs. Willows never gets up to leave her work. No, she's laid here and stitched a proper winding sheet all these years.
It's I, Lady Eleanor, Mrs. Willows. I've come for a
mantle. A special mantle.
Yes.
A covering fit for a queen. Isn't it pretty? Look at it. The devil never had one lovelier.
Well, I cannot see well. It's so dim.
Then open the shutters. Open them up, young man.
Yes, of course.
Would you have your lady miss her treasure in the dark?
Oh, it's beautiful. Beautiful.
Yes. Look at it.
Oh.
It lies like a royal beast across my lap. Blood red with cunning gold, eh? I've stitched all a madman learns into it. Aye, all a sick bed teaches.
Is it finished?
You'll wear it then, still hot from my fingers, eh? That's courage, my bird. Yes, it's done. Every last stitch in proper place. Oh, it wants to go to you. I can feel it stirring beneath my fingers.
Oh.
Patience. I've also waited a long time. Patience.
Ellen.
Come, put it on, milady. Put it on. And gaze at yourself in my mirror. Over there. Let me look upon you both. I've the soul of an artist.
Ellen, don't.
I've never seen such a beautiful thing. Never.
Take it. That's it, my beauty. Fasten the clasp now. Quickly. And look. Oh. You've never seen a beauty now, have you?
Oh.
It turns a pretty girl into an imperious queen, doesn't it? Yes, my mantle has a royal gift to offer. Empires are sacked for beauty such as yours now. You have power and regal pride. The clock is running down. Is it time, master? Tick-tock.
Ellen, take it off. It's cursed. Cursed, I beg of you, fling it off.
Quiet.
Give it back before it's too late, Ellen.
Don't be a fool. So it is time. Yes, I've passed it on. We've an heir, master. An heir. Tick, tock, tick.
She's dead. Dead.
The mantle is beautiful. Beautiful.
Her beauty was an incredible thing now. Haughty and commanding as a goddess's. But when she wrapped herself in the mantle, she wrapped herself in a cold and terrible pride. For all at once, she changed. Scorn for ordinary mortals reared itself beside her majesty, and people cursed her and her mantle. All love was frozen in her. Now she looked upon George Helwys with contemptuous eyes. One day he came to the governor's mansion. He arrived when the Lady Eleanor was in the garden, surrounded by Dr. Clark, Captain Langland, and Mr. Roberts, the school teacher.
No doubt you do find it strange, Mr. Roberts.
I had only thought it curious, my lady. I meant nothing.
I do, Ellen. I haven't seen the young man about for some time. An old sentimentalist notice such things.
I am not flattered by your interest, Doctor.
Who is this young man you speak of?
An epitaph, Captain Langland. I'm afraid you never met its subject. Shall we speak of other things?
Milady.
Yes?
Begging your pardon, milady, but there's a gentleman in the hall.
Who is it?
Master George, ma'am.
The devil. Tell him I'm away. Well, Doctor, how are your sentiments faring now? Are you still here?
Excuse me, ma'am, but he knows you're here. He's seen you through the window.
You fool! Did you let him? Ah, well. You must excuse me, gentlemen. I've a ghost to be laid away.
Surely,
Ellen.
Yes?
It wasn't easy for me to come here. I'm not one to bear the role of a turned-out dog gracefully.
Is that how you picture yourself?
Yes, that and sometimes more. Oh, have you no pity left? Throw off the mantle, Ellen. Burn it. It's turned you into a marble statue, a soulless being. Burn it, Ellen.
The door, Mr. Helwys, is behind you.
There's still time yet. Let our love consume it. Burn the mantle.
Listen to me, and listen well. We are as far apart as the mountain tops are from the bottom of the sea, as the sky from the earth, as the living from the dead. All that you stand for, goodness and pious love and humility, is hateful to me. I will have none of this kind of human groveling.
Ellen.
Your kind would believe a garden patch a paradise. I demand empire. You would creep along with pious caution while I will leap the world. I will have grapes in the dead of winter. I will command the trees' greenery to stand firm against the winter. I will hear nightingales and larks in the desert. Power, I shall be cloaked in it. All nature will perform for me while you grovel in the dust. Get away from me.
What is the mantle made of you, Ellen?
Your enemy, Mr. Helwys. Your deadly enemy.
The desire for power grows like a malignant cancer in the body. And as the days went by, the name of Lady Eleanor became a hateful one amongst the people. More and more she withdrew from them, keeping regally aloof like some cold and isolated tower. Even upon the night of her uncle's, the governor's, reception, she stood apart from the throng, imperious, a mantle ruby red and gleaming upon her shoulders.
You are looking extraordinarily beautiful tonight, milady.
What were you saying, Captain?
That you are beautiful tonight, milady. Don't you think so, Doctor?
Is it time yet?
Time?
The devil, I mean, what time is it?
Oh, it's 9 o'clock, milady. Are you expecting someone?
I don't know. The evening is unbearably long. What time did you say, Captain?
9 o'clock, milady.
Is that all? He drives a rusty chariot. Well, who is here tonight?
Why, everyone, milady. Without much trouble, I can see the King's Commission, Lord and Lady Rothcliffe, Sir John, and many others.
And George Helwys.
Where?
Behind you, milady.
What are you doing here?
Listen to me, Ellen. It's not too late. Drink this wine. Drink from this goblet and pass it amongst the guests.
Good Lord, it's a communion vessel.
Yes. It's holy wine, Ellen. Holy. You must believe me. Drink and let others sip from the same cup. Let them see that you are not withdrawn from all human love. Drink and we will burn the mantle.
Go amongst the cowards for your converts, Mr. Helwys. Win over the inglorious meek. I repeat, I shall wear an empire for a diadem in my hair.
You must drink, Ellen. You must.
The wine may be poisoned. Seize him.
Don't be ridiculous.
You clumsy ass. You've splattered my mantle. I'll have you beaten to a pulp.
What's the matter?
Ellen.
A chair. Quickly. A chair.
Cast the mantle from you, Ellen.
I'm dizzy. Doctor.
Yes, Ellen.
Doctor. Oh, Doctor, I must not die. I must not. You must help me.
She's fainted.
Let me help lift.
Yes, come on.
The mantle. Look. It glows like a thing alive. Like a thing alive.
The plague began on that night, and its first victim was Captain Langland. Then, inexorably, it moved through the town, leaving like an invading army a path of ruin. Each house had its tears, and each house rang with the curses for Lady Eleanor. She and she alone had provoked God's anger, they said. But was it his anger? Was it? Miraculously, Dr. Clark remained untouched by the disease that seized the town, and all day long he moved in and out of sick rooms, a gray-haired, weary man. He would not rest in spite of the urgent pleas of his housekeeper.
But you cannot go on like this, Doctor.
Only the dead have the privilege of resting, Mrs. Burns.
Well, at least eat the food I cooked for you. You'll be in the churchyard yourself in no time.
If you can find room for me there. Half dozen funerals passed me in the street today, and no one was weeping. No one has tears left anymore, and still the bell goes on tolling.
It's her mantle.
Eh?
Yes, she and her cursed mantle. Has the plague struck her? Her skin's still lily white, I'll warrant. The Lady Eleanor. The devil's lady.
Nonsense, Mrs. Barnes.
Oh, I know. You and your books of science. Begging your pardon, Doctor, but there's a lot that's not in your books.
Mrs. Burns, who is it?
I'll go see.
Doctor desires Sarah. Mr. Roberts, the schoolteacher. He's fainted and the fever's burning him.
When did this happen?
About this afternoon, sir.
Mrs. Burns, get me my bag.
But your meal, Doctor. You've had no lunch this day, I'm sure.
True, but James Roberts might not have breakfast tomorrow. He has much less time than I. Much less, Mrs. Burns. Much less.
Is that you, Doctor?
Hi, James. It's I.
Oh, good. There's a great deal to say. It's hot. Open a window, Sarah. Open one.
Don't twist so, James. You can open a window, Sarah.
A lot to say, Doctor. A lot. He's claiming his bill now, Doctor. A goodly sum.
Who is?
The Horn gentleman. The Lady Eleanor's banker. You know, credit, unearthly beauty, cost, lives.
Has this nonsense gotten you too, James?
Doctor.
Yes?
Doctor, is there a bell tolling?
Aye, James.
There's nothing you can do to stop it, is there? Oh, it makes such a dismal clang.
No, nothing.
Doctor, listen to me. I've been speaking with George Helwys. Burn the mantle. Go to her room and seize it. For the contagion is there.
James, be still.
No, you must listen. You can go there. You're a doctor.
I am also a man of science.
That is inadequate now. You must burn it. Doctor.
Yes? James. James. Sarah. The window. You can shut it now. He's dead. Dead.
He came downstairs to the street again, an old man with exhausted eyes. There was a funeral passing, a half-dozen mourners bearing a small casket. He turned and began walking away. Suddenly he heard a voice calling,
Dr. Clark!
He stopped
Dr. Clark!
and turned back. There was a man running toward him. Another one, thought the doctor. Another one.
Well, who is it now?
The Lady Eleanor.
What?
She seemed well enough this morning, Doctor.
If you will permit me, sir, I'll go up.
Yes, do. Oh, here, wait, I'll walk with you. Doctor.
Yes, Your Excellency?
I'm not an ignorant nor a credulous sort of a man, and I've the utmost contempt for superstition, but the mantle. I don't carry foolish tales about either, Doctor, but I've heard some,
That the mantle is cursed, Your Excellency?
Aye, that's it in a nutshell. Nonsense of that kind. I don't like it. Hey, what's that?
George Helwys.
Why, what are you doing in this house, Master Helwys? What do you want?
Her. Look.
A red banner of the epidemic.
Yes, for her.
Are you mad, George? Will you make a mockery of the poor girl's suffering?
Death and disease are in the form of Lady Eleanor, and I am their banner bearer.
Now, George, listen to me. We were friends in better days. You shared some confidences with me. I know how you loved her. I promise to do all in my power to save the Lady Eleanor, but you must not go near her.
Save her? She whose very breath breathes a poison in the air? Whose mantle has shaken death and pestilence upon us? Never was so great a curse visited upon this land as the Lady Eleanor.
How dare you, sir? Get out!
I must see the Queen in her awful beauty of the pestilence. I must see God's work. She challenged his order. She raised her will like a host of spears against him. And like the fallen angel, she has been cast down. I must see the Black Queen.
Will seeing her help?
As water to the thirsty. As succor to the abandoned.
Give me your hand, George. I will take you to her chamber. Here is her chamber, George. Open the door and go in.
It's dim. I do not see her.
Call her.
But... Lady Eleanor. Ellen! Ellen! She doesn't answer.
Enter. Enter and keep calling.
Ellen! It's I, George Helwys. Can you hear me?
Water. A drop of water. My throat is burning. Water on the table.
In a moment. Here, drink it.
Who are you?
George Helwys, Ellen.
The scavengers gather. Go away. I am not dead yet.
Where is the mantle, Ellen? Ellen.
These are the grapes that I have gathered in winter. This the empire glittering in my hair. I have been trapped.
Where is it, Ellen?
She lied, George. She lied. She said that power would be mine, that glory would be mine, that I would be an imperial queen on earth, a royal consort, a shining evening star. But she did not say death's consort. No, she did not say that.
Have you hidden it, Ellen?
All men were her enemies, and through me she struck back at them. I was the gatekeeper, George. The gatekeeper.
Ellen, the mantle.
What? What did you say?
The mantle. Where is it?
Oh, it's here. Around me. I am wearing it.
Ellen.
This is royal dying, my man. All queens take their glory to the grave with them. And the prisoner is buried in his chains.
No, Ellen, no.
And you are all avenged by it. My bit of splendor is almost done. They will ask for the crown jewels back, and I will go out through the servants' entrance.
No, Ellen. You will get well, you will.
Poor lad. You love the exiled queen still. If there were pity left in me, I would pity you. But as a close friend of the exiled queen, believe me, she is worth no man's love. Water. My throat is burning. Water.
Here, Ellen, drink. Drink.
George.
Yes, Doctor.
Did you see her?
Yes, I did.
And is she... What are you carrying there across your arm, George? What is it?
The mantle, Doctor. The mantle.
The procession is almost there. They'll burn the mantle before the province house and let the wind take command of the ashes. From where I stand, beside my own grave, my own tombstone, I can see George Helwys entering the square. His mouth is working as if he was shouting, but I do not hear the words. There. They've lowered the litter with the mantle now, and they're building a funeral pyre. About the square strides George Helwys, waving his crimson banner aloft. He stalks the living like death himself. They're finished. There. Someone's coming forward with a blazing torch and flings it. Leap, flame! Leap! A wall of fire has leaped up about the mantle, enveloping it. A ruddy glare glows on the walls of houses, on people's faces, and on the blood-red banner in George's hand. And it is done. Done. The mantle is consumed. Listen. The bell has stopped tolling.
From From the time-worn pages of the past, we have brought you the story, The Curse of the Mantle. Bellkeeper, toll the bell.
You're listening to HOJO Radio. Stay tuned.
The weird circle. In this cave by the restless sea, we are met to call from out of the past stories, strange and weird. Bellkeeper, toll the bell, so that all may know we are gathered again in the weird circle.
Out of the past, phantoms of a world gone by, speak again the immortal tale, the Cask of Amontillado.
Bells. Jester's bells. For 40 years I've lived with the sound of those bells. Fool's bells. Jester's bells. They call me rich old Angelo Montresor. Envy me my palazzo and my well-stocked wine cellars, my vast estates and honored reputation. Little do they know that all I possess is dust and ashes, for I am a man who longs for death. But years ago, in this same lovely Italian town, I was the young Angelo, filled with dreams of the future, happy in the company of my good friend Fortunato. We were walking together one spring evening in the Piazza Santa Anna.
Come, Angelo. Here's the cafe. They say Beppo keeps rare old wines. I should like to sample some.
I know you fancy yourself a great connoisseur of vintages, Fortunato mio, but I shall not join you now, for I am meeting Lucia.
You and your Lucia. Let's have a glass or two. Keep her waiting. That's good for any girl.
Lucia isn't any girl. She's the bright star of my life. I love her very dearly.
Love? You may love her, but what makes you think you can win her? What have you to offer as a son-in-law? A likely face and figure, granted. But wealth?
I'm my uncle's heir.
All you Montresors are long-lived. Have you business sense, brains, ambition?
My ambition is to have Lucia for my wife, a small casa.
Yes, and many sniveling bambinos.
Yes.
No. Now, my dear simpleton, you haven't a chance with her father. Now, suppose it were me. Lucia is beautiful, yes. I might even wish to marry her myself. And I could, yes. Merely by telling her father that I wish to. That would be a good business alliance. But love? Nonsense.
How can you say such things, Fortunato? Why do you brag so?
I'm not bragging. I shall always get what I want. I am a leader of men, whilst you are a love-lorn loon. Born to be a sheep and a follower.
Well, I'm not following you now. Go, sample your fine wine and talk of the great things you will do. I have something much more important to do.
Angelo! Angelo!
It's Lucia. Isn't she lovely?
Very lovely.
Caro mio.
Lucia, darling. It's wonderful to see you.
Greetings, my little pigeon.
Good evening, Fortunato. But I am not your little pigeon.
Good night, Angelo.
Arrivederci, Fortunato. Lucia. Lucia, dear, you were almost rude to Fortunato.
Why?
I do not like him. I know he is your friend, but...
He is. He's a great fellow and very fond of me.
Is he?
Of course. Man's man, perhaps, not a woman's ideal.
He's cruel and hard. A girl can tell. But let's not talk of Fortunato. Are you going to speak to Father tonight?
Yes. But I'm afraid he won't allow you to marry me.
Why not, Angelo?
I have no wealth, no business sense.
Darling, do not belittle yourself so. You are all the world to me.
Lucia, is this miracle true? You do really love me?
With all my heart. Now and forever. Be brave, Angelo. Speak to my father. He will not deny me happiness.
To my great joy, her father gave us his blessing. Lucia was to be my own dear wife. I was walking on air, humbly, deeply grateful. Just before our wedding was to take place, all our friends were invited to Lucia's home to celebrate. It was a happy evening of song, wine, and congratulations. Fortunato, most of all, seemed elated at my good fortune, and he and I were the last to take our leave. We walked along through the dark, empty streets, talking of the party and plans for my coming wedding. We reached his door. See here, boy, I do not like your going home alone. Huh? It's the blackest kind of night. I think I should go along with you. You mean you walk me to my door and then I escort you to yours and so back and forth till dawn, huh?
But these streets are not safe so late at night.
Oh, nonsense. I have my lantern.
Well, don't say I didn't warn you.
No, I'm not afraid. Buonanotte, my friend.
Till tomorrow, Angelo.
That's funny. Fortunato's worrying over me. It is pretty dark. What's that? I keep imagining I hear things. Someone is following me. Who's there?
That's him. Grab him.
What do you want?
Oh, you fool, Rufio. Don't let this lantern shine in your face like that. Smash it.
Help! Help!
I've got his hands. Get that sack over his head. Keep him quiet, Rufio. But don't kill him. They don't pay for corpses. Just a gentle tap. As limp as a rag in my arms. Now, take his feet and hurry.
I regained my senses and awoke to a misery of mental and physical anguish. I had no way of knowing where I was. The hot sun was beating down as I lay with other human wretches in the scuppers of a filthy ship. Running through my aching head was the name Rufio, and the picture of that scarred, cruel face glaring in the last glow of my lantern. I had been sold into slavery. I, Angelo Montresor, lashed and beaten on endless marches over burning sands, and on into the barren mountains, where in our misery and pain we were put to hard labor in the stone quarries. I'll not forget those endless years. The ache in my heart for my beloved Lucia, my longing for my native land, and above all, the haunting hate I bore for the man Rufio. I swore I'd find him, if not on this earth, then in an even worse hell than the one to which he had condemned me. And then one day, a miracle happened. I escaped. Starving and nearly dead from exhaustion, I reached a small seacoast village. There I begged crusts. Yes, begged in the streets for soldi to buy my passage on some vessel bound for Italy.
See here, my son. Look up here.
Allah, Allah! Arms! Arms for the love of...
Let me look at you.
Benedetto Cielo. My language. My native tongue.
As I thought. Your skin is dark enough and you're filthy as any beggar. But those eyes of yours tell me that once you had another god than Allah. Come, man, speak. Are you not a countryman of mine?
Si, signore. And I hope to return to my homeland as I hope for heaven.
You are not fleeing justice?
I'm seeking justice for the foulest treachery.
Well, let that wait. You can tell me your story later. My ship is about to weigh anchor. And if you'd like to come along...
Like to? May the saints bless you. But I have no money to pay you with.
Well, don't let that worry you. After a bit of food and rest, I'll let you work your passage home.
As a free man, I sailed for home, stepped ashore on the soil of my beloved country, and walked eagerly into the town where I was born. I longed to seek out Lucia, but I was ashamed of the sailor's clothes I wore, so I hurried to my old friend Fortunato's to borrow something suitable. Is Signor Fortunato at home?
No, sir. Only the Signora is in.
His wife?
Si, Signor.
Good old Fortunato married? Why, this is wonderful news. My compliments to your mistress, and say that a very old friend of her husband begs an interview.
Madame is not well.
Oh.
But I shall ask if she will see you. Come in, Signor.
Thank you. I shall wait here.
Signora! I heard every word, Anna. Leave us. Quickly. Angelo. Angelo.
Lucia!
Angelo, my love. Oh, is it really you? Let me touch you. Let me look at your dear face.
Oh, my Lucia.
Oh.
How I've longed to hold you close in my arms. But now you and Fortunato...
Yes, Angelo. It was my father's wish that I marry Fortunato. Oh. When they told me that you were dead, I died too. I became a thing with no heart, without any will.
Oh, Lucia.
Fortunato was your friend. I thought it would bring you nearer because we could talk of you. But he's never allowed me to mention your name. Oh, Angelo, he is so cruel.
Fortunato? Cruel to you? Oh, my darling. What shall we do? I love you so.
And I have loved only you. And always shall. But, Angelo, there's something I must beg of you. Implore you to do.
Lucia, beloved, what is it?
When Fortunato comes, if he seems rude to me, say nothing. Do nothing. It would only make him more cruel. Oh, there he is. He must not know that I have told you. Act, Angelo. Act for my sake. We must seem carefree and gay.
Carefree and gay.
Fortunato, come in here. A miracle has happened. Why, hurry, see. Here is a long-lost friend.
What are you babbling about? Who is this?
Dio Possenti, Angelo. But you were killed.
No, old friend, not killed.
Well, heaven be praised. We mourned you all these years. What happened? Where have you been?
Well, that night I left you at your house, I was followed and set upon by two ruffians.
Santa Maria.
And to think I let you go home alone. Oh, I blame myself. Have you any suspicion as to...
Suspicion?
Yes.
Absolutely none. Through all the years of torture, I try to think, who did this to me? What hidden enemy?
Or perhaps, Angelo, a false friend.
Be still, Lucia. This is man's talk. He will serve us best by getting a bottle of my favorite Lacrima Christi from the cellars. This should be a celebration.
See, Fortunato, though I do not know one bottle from another.
She has a fear of my wine cellars, hates to go down there. Ah, what an escape you had, Angelo. From matrimony, I mean. Were you surprised to learn I had wed your Lucia?
Why, I thought you scoffed at love.
So I do. Marriage of convenience, uniting of two fortunes. Lucia's a very lucky woman. I'm a rich man.
Yeah, yes. Lucia is very lucky.
Here she comes. We'll see if we're lucky. Well, sweet pigeon, what have you brought us to drink? Ah, sapristi, I thought so. You've as much knowledge of wine as a donkey. Vino Rosso.
Fortunato! Why, there's wine all over Lucia's dress.
And it may make her more cheerful, even if it is only on the outside.
Lucia, are you all right?
Pay no attention to her clutching at her heart, Angelo. That's a gesture she's fond of.
But she's not well.
Lucia's always ailing, aren't you, my sweet?
Shall I get another bottle?
No, I'll fetch the wine myself. But wait. Perhaps I shouldn't leave you two childhood sweethearts alone together. In those rags, Angelo, you are no romantic hero. And as for Lucia...
Lucia, what is he doing to you? Oh, my darling, I can't believe it. Fortunato, one so good a companion, a gentle friend.
My dearest, In those lost happy hours so long ago, I warned you that Fortunato was cruel and hard, not to be trusted.
And I believed you wrong. Oh, my Lucia, come away with me. We'll seek a new life together.
Oh, no, Angelo. I am Fortunato's wife.
What of our love? Our love that has sustained us during all these years.
That love will never die, my darling. But there can be no happiness for us on this earth. Our love can be a love fulfilled only after death. Oh, Angelo. Angelo.
I hardly know how I left Fortunato's house that day, nor remember how I took up my lonely life. My uncle had died, and I was now the owner of the Montresor fortunes. Months passed. Fortunato and I met, of course. I was unable to understand his treatment of Lucia, but I didn't blame him for my tragedy. He had thought me dead. Seeking forgetfulness, I often wandered to the waterfront. The wretched hovels were usually silent and dark. But one night I saw a glimmer of light and heard angry voices. I was about to pass by when I heard a familiar voice.
I paid you to kill him, Rufio, you dog, and in order to gain more money, you sold him into slavery. How dare you?
Signor Fortunato, that meant death, a slow death.
Well, he didn't die. Angelo Montresor is home and alive, and you must do your work again.
Oh? Oh, so you have come to pay me more gold for a second killing?
Yes.
Signor Fortunato, I hate shedding blood, but I do love money. You are a rich man. Surely you don't wish Montresor to learn of your friendly efforts?
Blackmail, eh?
Persuasion. For my silence, 1,000 lire?
1,000 deaths! Take that! For your silence.
I couldn't move or cry out. I hardly breathed. I saw my old friend Fortunato slink from that wretched hovel, a liar, a murderer, a Judas. I had to think. I would have vengeance, that was certain. But I must run no risk of being found out. Above all, Lucia must not be involved. She must not learn of her husband's treachery. I began to lay my plans, but vowed that neither by word or deed would I cause Fortunato to doubt my goodwill. This resolve was soon put to the test. It was carnival time. I came to face with Fortunato. The man wore motley, and on his head a pointed jester's cap with bells. Gaily costumed girls followed him.
La saluto, Angelo. Well met.
My dear Fortunato, how remarkably well you look.
Don't I? A connoisseur of beauty as well as of wine. But come along, let's have a bottle right now.
I'd love to, but I'm not in costume.
Well, get yourself one. This is carnival. Meet me at the cafe. We'll make a night of it.
Perhaps I will.
All right, see you later. Then I'll wait for you. Don't fail me.
Signor Angelo, I thought I'd never find you in this crowd.
Anna, what brings you?
Madonna Lucia is dying.
No. Oh, no.
Father Luigi is with her. Hurry, Signor. She is calling for you.
You have come in time, my son. She has not long to live. Where is she, Father? In here, my son. She awaits you.
Angelo, beloved, you have come.
My own dearest love.
Yes, your own. Forever. I've always belonged to you. Never to Fortunato. Oh, beware of him, Angelo mio. He taunted me cruelly today. Boasted that it was he who had paid to have you murdered.
I know, Lucia mia. Don't try to talk. I know it all. Just lie here in my arms and remember our great love there.
But Angelo, I beg you, do nothing against Fortunato. It would only bring harm to you.
Beloved, nothing matters but you.
Angelo, kiss me. Our last. Addio, my love.
Lucia. Lucia. Addio. Lucia died in my arms, and my heart died with her. But my mind was keen. At last I was determined that the plan I had made would be carried out. Now, tonight. The carnival was at the height of its madness, and I knew where to find Fortunato. Providing myself with a mask and domino to avoid recognition, I pushed my way through the revelers. Fortunato! Fortunato!
FUNKO!
It is I, Angelo!
I didn't know you in that gay disguise. What's the secret?
Where can I find Lucchese?
Lucchese, why?
Well, some time ago I ordered a cask of Amontillado.
Ah, that nectar of the gods.
And when I got home just now, I found it had been delivered.
You jest. In the middle of the carnival?
Yes. And I was silly enough to pay the full Amontillado price. I was afraid of losing a bargain.
Lucchese cannot tell Amontillado from Chianti. I am the man to tell you whether you've a bargain or not. Where is this precious cask?
In the dungeons of my house. My secret cellar.
To the secret cellars, then. Lead on. You're making me thirsty.
Oh, no, my friend, no. I can't impose on you. Now, Lucchese...
Nonsense, come.
No, Fortunato, be sensible. You have a severe cold, and remember, my vaults are damp.
My cold? Amontillado. That will cure my cough. Let me judge it for you. Come.
Taking 2 torches from the wall, I gave one to Fortunato and bowed him through suites of rooms to the archway leading to the vaults. Down long, winding stairs, we stood at length on the wet earth of the Montresor catacombs. Fortunato's step was a bit unsteady, for he had tasted much wine, and his bells jingled as he walked.
The cask.
Oh, much further on, beyond these newer coffins. Oh, it's cold here. We'd best go back. Your health is precious, and you are a man of importance. I cannot be responsible for your illness.
Enough. I shall not die of a cough.
True. I do not mean that you should. But stop a moment. Here in these bins is wine. A drink of this Chateau Lafite will drive out the damp. Here you are. Break off the neck and warm yourself.
Fair bacco. A cheerful spot for a drink with all these coffins and bones, eh? I drink to the buried that repose around us.
And I drink with you to your long life.
These vaults of yours are enormous.
Yes. We're below the riverbed now. Beyond these casks and coffins are the inmost recesses of the catacomb.
I can wait no longer. Where is this Amontillado?
In there.
Through that grill door, an iron door? Looks like a dungeon.
So it is. It's the dungeon where the old Montresors kept their precious captives, and where now I keep my most precious vintages.
I can hardly see my torch burn so dimly.
Oh, that's just because the air is foul in here. But look, there's the great cask. I'll hold your torch. There. Here's a flagon. Go in and sample it to your heart's content.
At last, the Amontillado. I have not tasted it in years. Ah, Angelo, this is superb. It is priceless. But bring the torches. Where are you?
Here. Outside the door.
Angelo, what are you doing? A very good joke indeed. An excellent jest. we will have a good laugh about it back at the cafe. Now, let me out. It's damp in here.
It's very damp. Feel the niter on the walls.
Open that door. I wish to return to the carnival.
The carnival is ended for you. Besides, you promised to give me your opinion of my Amontillado.
Just the one. Let me out of here.
The door is solid iron. You'll only hurt your hand.
Angelo, open this door. I say open it this moment.
And I say no. This is my moment. My time of revenge.
Revenge? For the love of heaven, Montresor, don't leave me here. Mercy.
Had you mercy when you stabbed Rufio?
Montresor, the damp, the dark, have pity.
Had you pity when you paid to have me murdered?
Angelo, save me. Don't leave me here. Pity for Lucia's sake.
Silence. Don't mention her sainted name.
But I'll die like
Yes, Fortunato, you'll die. And none but the rats will ever find you here. I leave you with the bones of my ancestors. Angelo! Come back! Don't leave me! Angelo!
The hideous tinkle of those jester bells. 40 years I've lived with the sound of those bells. Fool's bells. Jester's bells.
From the time-worn pages of the past, we have heard another immortal tale in The Weird Circle. Bellkeeper, toll the bell. Be here in this lonely cave by the restless sea once again next time for another immortal tale in The Weird Circle.
Our next broadcast was one of the premier drama programs of the golden age of radio and was subtitled Radio's Outstanding Theater of Thrills and focused on suspense thriller-type scripts, usually featuring leading Hollywood actors of the era. Approximately 945 episodes were broadcast during its long run, and more than 900 still exist. The protagonist was usually a normal person, suddenly dropped into a threatening or bizarre situation. Solutions were withheld until the last possible second, and evildoers were usually punished by the end. We present to you Suspense on HOJO Radio.
Suspense. This is the Man in Black, here again to introduce Columbia's program, Suspense. Our star tonight is Bela Lugosi, playing the part of Professor Antonio Basile, psychologist. The story is by J. Donald Wilson, who calls it The Doctor Prescribed Death. If you have been with us on these Tuesday nights, you will know that suspense is compounded of mystery and suspicion and dangerous adventure. This series of tales is calculated to intrigue you, stir your nerves, to offer you a precarious situation, and then withhold the solution until the last possible moment. And so it is with the Doctor Prescribed Death and Bela Lugosi's performance. We again hope to keep you in suspense. Professor Antonio Basile has a theory, but let him tell you about it.
As a psychologist, I have worked out a theory I know to be sound. I contend that a person who has decided to kill himself can very easily be turned from this desire to the desire of taking the life of another. I can prove my theory, and if necessary, That is exactly what I will do.
Yes, Professor Antonio Basile has a theory, but only a theory. And he's worried about what his publisher will say, so he visits the editor, whose name is Hellman. Hellman finishes the manuscript and tosses it on the desk. Professor Basile leans forward eagerly and...
Well, Hellman, what do you think?
Professor Basile, it's purely conjecture, simply a theory, and I wouldn't advise publishing it.
I worked on that theory for a long time. I'm positive of it. I know it'll work.
Suppose it will. What good is it? What good have you accomplished if you can prove it'll work?
Are you laughing at me, Hellman?
It's so silly. An ordinary human being has suffered reverses, is sick of it all. He wants to leave it all behind. And you say he can be changed to want to kill someone else.
I do. Self-destruction and the destruction of other life are closely related in the mind. The dividing line is very thin.
It's ridiculous.
And you won't publish it?
Ranger would fire me.
Why?
He told me that, in his opinion, you should be in the asylum.
Mr. Granger said that. Does he think I'm insane?
How do I know?
Hellman, Mr. Granger didn't say that. It's you who thinks I'm crazy. You've never liked me. For some reason, you are trying to tear me down. Well, we'll see, Mr. Hellman. We'll see.
Now, wait a minute.
I'll show you whether my works are illogical. I'll show you whether I'm insane.
Oh, calm down.
I'm going to make you eat those words. I know you don't like me, but I'm going to prove that my theory is sound. Good night.
Wait a minute. Basile, wait.
You wait, Hellman. You wait.
Yes, wait, Hellman. Wait. Professor Basile, seething with resentment, rushes from the office and strides angrily down the street.
Insane, huh? I'll prove my theory. I'll find a subject. I'll find someone who wants to take his own life.
And so Basile goes home, late for dinner. He finds a note from his wife, Myra, saying she's decided to attend the opera and will be home around 11:30. Then Professor Basile gets an inspiration. He goes to the bridge over the deep canyon, the bridge called Suicide. And strangely enough, he hasn't long to wait. As he stands against the railing in the fog, a figure appears a few feet beyond, stops, prepares to leap.
Don't do it. Wait a minute. Listen.
Huh?
That's very silly.
Let go of me.
Oh, no. I couldn't do that. I need you.
I don't need you.
Don't you know this is against the law?
You're not an officer. You can't stop me.
It's 500 feet to those tracks below. Hard steel rails. And don't believe what they all tell you about not being conscious of what happened. You'd know. People don't die instantly.
Let loose.
They lie in agony for minutes and sometimes for an hour. It's a horrible death, I know.
How do you know?
I'm a doctor.
Doctor?
Yes. I can tell you much simpler ways, much less painful ways, and quicker. You're a nice young girl. An intelligent girl. You wouldn't want it to happen this way. Maybe after I talk to you a while, you wouldn't want to do this at all.
No?
No. But come on. Let's talk it over. Maybe a few minutes' talk will change the entire picture for you.
What could you do to help me?
If you'll come, I'll tell you. There's a motive back of your wanting to do this, and I'd like to know what it is.
Nothing doing.
Haven't you any relatives? Any loved ones you'd like to do something for?
Yes?
Then if you talk with me for a while, maybe I can find my way clear to help those people.
You sound crazy to me.
Oh, no.
All right, I'll... Where?
My apartment.
Let's go.
Well, here we are. Come in, please.
Well, what do you want to know?
Sit down first. Are you hungry?
No, I'm not that broke. It isn't poverty.
I knew that. I could tell by your clothes. Now, first, why did you come here?
Why? Why, because you talked me into it.
I see. You're not afraid of me?
Afraid? In my frame of mind. What can I lose?
Suppose I told you that I really brought you here to kill you.
Kill me?
You know, you're a very pretty girl, don't you?
Yeah? That doesn't always mean so much.
The right man, it might.
That's what I thought. But I found out it didn't mean a thing.
Ah, then it was because of a man. I knew it.
Really? How did you guess?
I'm a student of psychology. I'm Professor Antonio Basil.
I see. And you want to know what makes me tick. You want to know the reason behind my action tonight.
That's right. I would like to know what happened to make you want to kill yourself. Suicide is a mental aberration.
Yeah?
I'd like to know what preceded the decision to destroy yourself. And what you thought about until the moment I stopped you on the bridge.
What good will that do me?
You said you weren't broke, but you also said you had some loved ones you'd like to do something for.
I meant I wasn't broke to the point of being hungry. I have a few dollars. But you suggested help for someone in larger terms.
Yes, I did. Who is the loved one?
My mother.
You are her only means of support?
Yes.
And you intend to kill yourself?
Yes.
That's being selfish, isn't it?
Selfish?
Yes. You are concentrating solely on self.
You think so?
What else? The first law of human nature is self-preservation, right?
I suppose so.
The second law is the preservation of family.
Yeah?
So you decide to deny the first law and destroy yourself. And as a consequence, deny the second and leave your mother alone and in need. You indicate a form of insanity.
What would be normal?
To destroy the other person. The one who has done you wrong. Have you hurt him?
No.
Then the one who has done wrong should be the one to suffer. You have no legal recourse?
Legal recourse? No, I haven't, I'm sorry to say.
And you would kill yourself to let your poor mother suffer because of the wrong of another. Why shouldn't he be the one to suffer?
I suppose you're right. Why shouldn't he?
What happened after all? Why not tell me about it? Were you married?
No. He never seemed to find time to get around to marriage.
What's your name?
Gladys. Gladys Tanner.
How long had you known him?
Almost 4 years.
And you always thought he meant to marry you?
Yes. Until 3 weeks ago.
Yes?
On July 1st, he had to leave town for a week on business. Said he was going to Kansas City. When he came back, he seemed to be too busy to see me. Then a week ago, I found a snapshot along with several others in his desk in his home.
May I see it?
Certainly. It's a picture of him and another woman. But the picture was not taken in Kansas City.
It wasn't?
No. It was taken on the beach at Atlantic City. And it's dated by the finisher, July 3rd. Since he returned, he's refused to see me. Yesterday, he finally said he didn't care to see me anymore. That I'd better forget him.
But it isn't so easy as that, is it?
No. I figured I'd done something. And blame myself.
Do you know this blonde woman in this snapshot?
No.
Then it must be a woman he has met recently. You've known him for 4 years. I don't think you are to blame. He's the one in the wrong. And he should be made to suffer.
How?
You were going to kill yourself. Why should you? Kill him instead. He double-crossed you. He deserves it. Now, let me go a little deeper into the situation. Whenever a person has reached the conclusion to take his life... You are sure you have made up your mind, Miss Tanner?
Positive.
Now, if you're careful, you won't be caught.
No.
But whether you are or not, I'm giving you this check for $1,000 made out to cash to be sent to your mother only after the man is dead. Write his name on this pad.
There you are.
I will know what has happened by the newspapers. And I will withhold payment until I learn that you have gone through with it.
It'll happen tonight.
Very well. You are sure? You are determined?
Absolutely. Nothing could stop me.
Very good.
Just what would happen if I did get caught?
You won't get caught if you follow my instructions. I know. Now, here is a small revolver. It'll fit easily in your purse. That's all you need. Be sure to wipe your fingerprints off and leave the gun near the body.
Well, goodbye, Dr. Basile.
Goodbye, Gladys, and good luck.
Professor Basile watches Gladys as she crosses the street to the dimly lighted bus stop. Then he rushes to his car and drives away. A few minutes later, he comes to a stop at Hellman's house. Hellman, the editor who ridiculed his theory.
Just a minute. Oh. Hello, Basile.
Good evening, Herman. Thought I'd drop out to have a little chat with you.
Well, why this time of night? It's kind of late, isn't it?
11. Didn't think that was late for you.
No? Come in.
Thanks.
Sit down. What's on your mind?
I want to talk to you about my theory you ridicule so definitely. My theory about suicide.
Oh. Well, I just don't believe it, that's all.
And I said I'd prove it, didn't I?
Yes, but what are you getting at?
It's going to be proved. My theory is going to be proved tonight.
Well, that's fine. Go right ahead and prove it.
I don't like you, Hellman. I never liked you. And I know you don't like me.
I can't help that, Basile. What are you staring at?
Is there someone here with you?
Certainly not. Why?
That's a woman's purse on the Davenport.
Oh, my secretary dropped by earlier this evening with the manuscript. She must have forgotten it.
She's not here now?
Of course not.
Then I'll continue. I found a subject. A girl who was ready to commit suicide because a man jilted her. In a few hours, I was successful in changing her thoughts from suicide to homicide, and she is going to kill the man tonight. What do you think of that?
There may be a dozen murders tonight.
But you'll know which one I mean. You'll know about this murder.
What do you mean?
Because I'm going to tell you who the victim is going to be.
You know who the intended victim is? Why don't you stop it?
But then I wouldn't have proved my theory.
If you put this girl up to it, you're as guilty as she is. You're insane, Basile. Hopelessly insane.
You think so, Herman?
The whole idea is mad. Too utterly ridiculous for words. No sane man would ever think of such a useless, senseless idea. And for heaven's sake, stop laughing.
I'm thinking about the victim when he learned.
Who is the victim?
Martin Hellman.
Me?
Yes, you.
I don't believe you.
You will this time.
Who is this girl? I know no girl who'd want to kill me.
This one does. Now.
Oh, nonsense. However, I wouldn't put it past you to hire someone to do something like this.
No, this girl is no fake. This girl is serious, deadly serious.
You probably hypnotized some poor woman, figuring she'd never remember what happened.
Oh, Hellman, you underestimate me.
Maybe I do underestimate your evil mind. But believe
Put
me...
up your hands, Hellman. Get away from that desk. I'll just take care of that gun, Hellman. That's better.
Well, since when did you start carrying a gun, Basile?
A gun? Don't be silly. This isn't a gun in my pocket. It's just my pipe. See? Well, what do you hear, Herman?
Nothing.
Oh, yes, you do. I heard it, too. The sound on the porch. I leave now. The back way. I put your gun in the kitchen. And I'll be very careful to remove all my
fingerprint.
You insane fool.
Oh, fancy you. You, Hellman, you are going to help prove my theory. Good night, Hellman.
Crazy devil. I'll have him locked up before he gets across town.
Good evening, Mr. Hellman.
Huh? How did you get in here?
Through the patio door.
What do you want?
I wanted to talk to you.
Very strangely.
You're just imagining things.
And what are you doing here?
I wanted to tell you something.
Yeah? What?
When you first indicated to me that you were through with me, I was terribly hurt. I thought all along that we were to be married. I couldn't understand. I tried and tried to think of something I'd done to cause our breakup. Then I happened to find this snapshot in your desk.
Snapshot?
Take a look at it. Kansas City. No, Atlantic City, New Jersey. You and a blonde. And the date is stamped on the back. A business trip. Ha!
Well, what about it?
I just wanted you to know that you weren't so slick. I wanted you to know that I knew about the blonde. That I knew you'd lied.
Now that you've told me, what good does it do you?
A lot of good.
First, I thought you came here for money.
How could you think such a thing?
Well, I think you'd better go now.
I'm going. Goodbye, Morton. And good luck in your new venture.
What venture?
This one.
Gladys! Gladys!
And wish me luck in mine.
Gladys stands staring a moment at the body of Hellman, then wipes off the gun, drops it to the floor, takes the professor's check from her purse, steps to Hellman's desk and writes a note. Then she puts the note in an envelope with the check, addresses it, stamps it, turns out the lights, and steps out into the dark street. At the corner, she drops the envelope in the mailbox and disappears. Professor Basile heard the shots. His theory worked. Hellman will torment him no more. The perfect crime. So he can go home to his wife now and go to sleep.
Myra. Myra.
Huh? What? Oh, Antonio.
What are you doing asleep on the Davenport? Do you know what time it is?
It must be after midnight. I've been waiting for you.
How was opera?
Oh, fair. Nothing to brag about.
Who sang the lead?
Belchiati. He wasn't very good.
Belchiati?
Mm-hmm. He's a poor Othello.
Othello? I thought they were doing Aida tonight.
No, they switched because someone was ill. Oh, they just as soon have stayed home.
Have a nightcap, Myra?
No, thanks. I'm tired. I think I'll go to bed.
I'll be along presently. Good night.
Then the night passes and the morning comes. The professor rises cheerfully and prepares for breakfast. Then...
I'll get it, Myra. Yes?
Are you Professor Basile?
Yes.
May we come in? We'd like to talk with you.
Of course. What is it you want?
Is your wife in?
Yes.
We'd like to see her, too.
What?
Oh, I'm Lieutenant Davis. Right. Detective headquarters.
Well, what do you want?
Will you call your wife?
Why, certainly. Myra! But what's this all about?
What is it, Antonio?
These men are from detective headquarters. They want to talk to us.
Really? What about?
May I ask where you were last night, Mrs. Basile?
Certainly. I went to the opera.
What time did you get home?
Oh, I imagine it was around 11 or shortly after.
Mm-hmm. Were you at home last evening, Professor?
Well, I was at the club and got home about 12:30.
By the way, do you know a Morton Hellman?
Certainly.
What about him?
He's been murdered.
Murdered?
Good Lord. When?
Around midnight last night. I found him this morning.
How terrible.
Why, I've known him for years. He was editor-in-chief of the company publishing my writings. I'm a psychologist, you know.
Yes, we know.
But what do you want to know from us? We weren't connected socially with Hellman. Just in business.
Did you know him, Mrs. Basile?
Yes, I knew him very slightly.
Do either of you know of anyone who'd have reason to kill him?
Certainly not. Everyone thought highly of him.
Did you ever hear of a girl named Gladys Tanner?
Gladys Tanner? No.
Did you know of a Gladys Tanner, Mrs. Basile?
No.
Is this your purse, Mrs. Basile?
Why, of course it is. That's the one I gave you last Christmas, Myra.
Well, yes. I must have lost it downtown.
Where did you find it, Lieutenant?
At Hellman's home.
Hellman's home? Well, how in the world?
Good heavens, but
We
how...
found it on the sofa.
Well, I can't imagine how it could get there.
And this is the revolver that killed Hellman, found on the floor beside him.
What?
No fingerprints on it, however.
What?
May I see it? Why, Myra, this is your gun. I bought this for you 2 years ago when I went on the lecture tour.
Yes, I think it's mine, but it just doesn't make sense.
Did you have the gun in your purse when you lost it last time?
Well, perhaps I did. I'm so confused now I can't remember.
That thing, Myra. The thing, it is terrible.
Oh, I know. Oh, dear, I feel ill.
Did you ever fire this gun?
Yes, once last year up in the mountains. I wanted to see how it worked.
Ever reload it?
No, I've never reloaded it. I just didn't think about it. Maybe I did put it in my purse. Why, I don't know. And whoever found the purse may have used the gun to... Oh, I just can't seem to think.
This gun misfired on the first 2 shots. The other 3 killed Hellman.
This is the most amazing piece of coincidence I ever heard of. Why would my wife want to do such a thing? Why should she get to Hellman? She hardly knew him.
Are you sure about that, Professor?
Of course.
Well, sorry to say that I don't believe her.
What? This is ridiculous.
This is going to be a shock to you, Professor, but here's a snapshot we found on Hellman's desk. Taken in Atlantic City last July.
Good heavens. Why? This is you, Myra. You and Hellman. You were at your mother's in Florida in July. Myra, look at me. What does this mean?
I can't.
And I can't believe such a thing.
May I have the purse, the gun, and the photo? Thank you. I'm sorry, but I'll have to take her down to headquarters.
But I didn't kill him. I didn't. I wouldn't. I loved him.
Myra. You better pull yourself together. You'll have to go back.
You'll want photos and fingerprints.
Yes. Better get it ready, Myra. Certainly looks bad for her.
Afraid it does. Looks like an open and shut case. Oh, will you come along too, Professor?
Certainly.
And so it all worked out beautifully. Not quite as the professor had planned. But then he changed his plan from the moment when Gladys Tanner showed him the snapshot taken in Atlantic City. And he realized that the girl's fiancé was Hellman, and the blonde was Myra, his wife. He had no intention of allowing Gladys Tanner to kill Hellman until he saw that snapshot. And when he recognized Myra's purse in Hellman's home, he decided to let Gladys kill him and the blame be placed on Myra. The perfect crime. But several hours later, after fingerprints and many questions, the professor is just about to be dismissed when Sergeant Rankin steps into the room and speaks quietly to Lieutenant Davis.
What is it, Rankin?
I stayed at Basile's place, as you said.
Well?
A few minutes ago, a special delivery letter came for the professor. This'll knock your eye off. Read it.
Huh? Wow. This fits perfectly with the writing we were trying to make out on Helm's desk blotter. Professor, here's a letter sent special delivery to you a few minutes ago, postmarked last night. Read it.
Dear Professor Basile, your theory worked a certain degree. You convinced me I should kill him. But when that gun you gave me misfired twice, I almost quit.
Go ahead, Professor. Read on.
Then as I looked at him on the floor, the feeling of self-destruction came back. I'm going ahead with my plan. Here's your check. I won't need it. Besides, I lied to you. I lost my mother long ago. Better luck next time. Gladys Tanner.
And a half hour ago, they found her body beneath Suicide Bridge.
Well, Professor, your perfect crime has failed.
Failed. Yes, failed.
Wonderful setup on paper, but your theory backfired and you're up for murder.
But I didn't kill him.
But you planned it, and you're as guilty as Gladys. She's paid her penalty. Now it's your turn.
No. I won't be hanged. Never!
Drink and grab it.
And now the doctor lies on the sidewalk 17 stories below. His entire theory worked in reverse. And so closes the doctor-prescribed death, starring Bela Lugosi. Tonight's story of Suspense. It came to you from Columbia Square in Hollywood. This is the man in black who conveys to you Columbia's invitation to spend this half hour in suspense with us again next Tuesday when we present the noted actor, Mr. Sidney Greenstreet, in The Hangman Won't Wait. William Spear, the producer, Ted Bliss, the director, Lud Gluskin, the musical director, Lucian Mahuik, the composer, and J. Donald Wilson, the author, collaborated on tonight's Suspense.
This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.
You're listening to HOJO Radio. More classic old-time radio coming your way next.
Suspense. This is the Man in Black, here again to introduce Columbia's program, Suspense. Our star tonight is Miss Mary Astor, one of Hollywood's most charming and resourceful actresses, and a lady who is no stranger to the art of keeping audiences in suspense. Ask anyone who saw her in The Maltese Falcon or Across the Pacific. The story called In Fear and Trembling by J. Donald Wilson is tonight's tale of suspense. If you have been with us on these Tuesday nights, you will know that suspense is compounded of mystery and suspicion and dangerous adventure. In this series are tales calculated to intrigue you, to stir your nerves, to offer you a precarious situation, and then withhold the solution until the last possible moment. And so it is with In Fear and Trembling and Miss Mary Astor's performance, we again hope to keep you in suspense. At the edge of the cliff, overlooking the sea, sits a gray stone mansion, weather-beaten by the storms of several decades. To this mansion, Gilbert Durant brought his bride, Lucia. That was 4 years ago. Gilbert and Lucia were quite happy until a year ago, when Lucia's half-sister Beverly came to live with them. Gradually, something began to happen. Lucia felt that some insidious horror was beginning to gnaw at her happiness. She began to know that Gilbert's ardor was beginning to cool. he became more absorbed in his writing. Then she felt the cold clamminess of the great stone structure creeping about her, clutching at her heart. Anyone who saw her could tell that fear was growing in her mind, a fear of something which she could not or would not explain. One evening, Lucia, having excused herself at dinner, tossed on her bed in a fretful sleep.
No. Don't. Get away from me!
Mrs. Durant. Mrs. Durant, what's wrong?
Oh, Benson, come in.
Well, what on earth is wrong? Why were you screaming?
Oh, Benson, I must have been dreaming. It was horrible.
You're white as a ghost and shaking like a leaf.
Yes, I know. Oh, Mrs. Benson, I can't stand it. It's driving me mad. That makes the fourth or fifth time I've dreamed the same thing, the same in every detail.
I've never heard you scream before.
No. Oh, that's probably because...
What?
Oh, it always comes a little closer to me. Tonight it almost reached me.
It? What do you mean?
I don't know what it is. It's a figure. A human figure, but I can't tell whether it's a man or a woman. It comes through that door and walks slowly across the room with its arms outstretched, reaching for me.
Are you sure you were dreaming?
Now that I think of it, it isn't like a dream, an ordinary dream. Its reality seems to carry over even after I'm awake.
That's what's made you so ill.
This dream, if it is a dream, means something? Is that what you think? It's a premonition?
Perhaps.
What time is it?
9 o'clock.
Where's Gilbert?
Your husband went horseback riding over an hour ago.
Did he go alone?
Your sister went with him.
Beverly? Why didn't he ask me to go?
Well, you've not been yourself lately. Not been feeling well.
Yes, of course.
Well, if you're feeling better, I'll go back to my room.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes, I'll be all right. Thank you, Miss Benson. Good night.
Good night, ma'am.
Beverly. Gilbert.
Lucia lay there for a while, staring wild-eyed at the patch of moonlight on the bedroom door, listening, waiting. Then, as the clock struck 10:30, the door opened, and a figure stepped into the room and moved noiselessly through the moonlight to Lucia's bed. Suddenly, Lucia opened her eyes.
Gilbert, don't!
Lucia, what's wrong with you?
What are you doing in my room?
I just wanted to know how you felt.
How long have you been standing there?
Oh, just a few seconds.
I was dreaming, I guess. When I woke up, you startled me.
Why were you yelling, don't?
I don't know. I haven't the slightest idea.
I talked with Dr. Hanby about you today. I told him how run down you were, and he suggested that I get a tonic for you. I'll drop in at the drugstore on my way home tomorrow evening.
A tonic?
Yes.
Well, what is it?
Oh, I don't remember. Something in strychnine.
Strychnine?
Yes, he said it would give you an appetite.
Where have you been, Gil?
Oh, I've been riding. Nice moonlight night. Very pleasant.
Did Beverly enjoy it?
Yes, she's an excellent rider. I've decided to buy that filly from Thompson. Going over there tomorrow afternoon.
Is Beverly going with you?
Yes. She's a good judge of horseflesh. Why?
Nothing. I just asked.
Well, good night, Lucia. See you at breakfast?
Yes. Good night.
Something and strychnine. Something and strychnine. Lucia jumps from her bed, rushes down to the library, snaps on the light and steps to the shelf holding the encyclopedia. She runs her fingers down the long line of books, LMNOPR, and then she stops and stares. The S to T is missing. Then she sees it on the desk, the missing volume. She rushes to the desk and stares down at the open page.
Yes, that's it. Strychnine.
I'll tell you what, Beverly, I'll leave the deal entirely up to you.
Up to me? Oh, Gil, that's not fair.
Why not?
Well, suppose she turns out to be a lemon.
I don't think she will, because you're going to have the job of training her.
Oh, you certainly flatter me.
Not in the least. Oh, good morning, Lucia.
I just realized what time it was. You'll be leaving in a few minutes.
Yes, it's 9 this very minute. Step on it. More coffee, Beverly?
No, thanks. How do you feel, Lucia?
Better. Much better.
You better eat something.
No, I can't.
At least some coffee.
Yes, I'll have some coffee.
I've got to run. See you later, Lucia.
Yes, Gil.
And I'll see you this afternoon at 2, Beverly.
Yes, I'll meet you in town at 2. Oh, Gil, don't forget Lucia's medicine.
No, I won't. Bye, Lucia.
Are you meeting Gil in town, Beverly?
Yes, he wants me to decide on that filly he's interested in.
Where did you learn so much about horses?
Oh, seems to be natural. Why don't you get interested in horses, Lucia?
Why should I?
What are you interested in?
Well, I am interested in a few things. My husband in particular.
You don't act interested in anything.
Really?
Well, if you'll take my advice, you'll snap out of this coma and get some pep.
Does Gil like women with pep?
No man cares about a woman who sits around and mopes. I think you're a hypochondriac.
Do you?
You should do something about it.
I intend to. I intend to do something about it.
I'm glad to hear it. Get out and do things. Play games, golf, tennis, swim, and ride. Maybe this medicine will fix you up.
You know all about it, do you? What is it?
Oh, I don't know. It's a tonic, a builder-upper.
I wish I could believe that.
But at least you can try it. Won't hurt you.
No? I wonder. Oh, come in, Dr. Hanby.
Well, Lucia, why did you call me out here? What's wrong?
I just couldn't make it into town.
Oh, it can't be as bad as all that.
Did Gilbert talk to you about me yesterday?
I saw Gil for a few moments at the club during lunch. Said you were run down.
Did you give him a prescription for me?
Oh, never do that until I've examined the patient.
You didn't give him a prescription?
Well, no.
What did you suggest for me?
Oh, I don't know. Mentioned a few tonics he might get for you. Spoke of beef iron and wine and sherry and egg and... I don't remember what else.
Then you mentioned nothing specifically.
I don't think so.
I see.
Now, what seems to be wrong with you, Lucia?
I don't know exactly, but something has been happening to me that, well, frankly, I'm afraid I'm losing my mind.
We all feel that way at times.
I'm serious. Things happen to me in the night.
What sort of thing?
At first I thought they were just nightmares, but when you have a nightmare, you wake up and the fear is gone. You realize the truth. But this vision that comes to me haunts me through the waking hours as well.
Vision?
Something, I think it's a person, comes through my bedroom door, comes toward my bed with outstretched arms as though it intends to strangle me. Each time it comes a little closer. And my fear is that eventually it will get to me before I wake up.
See. You always dream the same dream?
If it is a dream, yes.
And who is the person?
I don't know.
You don't think it's really a dream?
No. I think it's a premonition.
Have you any basis for such a fear in real life? Is there someone or something that you're afraid of?
Doctor, I'm convinced they're not dreams, that I'm not asleep.
Oh, nonsense.
I'm positive they're not mere dreams.
Well, I think it's all due to your rundown condition. You probably don't sleep as soundly as you should, so you transfer sounds in the night to dreams and nightmares.
That's exactly what I mean. If I'm only half asleep, I may be transferring actual movements and sounds into dreams. In other words, if someone slams a door in the night, I may half hear it and attribute it to a dream.
Yeah. All right.
But then perhaps I'm not dreaming. Don't you see?
I think you'd better come into town and have a thorough physical.
You mean a checkup by a psychiatrist?
Oh, I may have someone help me. It's the usual thing, you know.
Oh, Dr. Hanby, I'm so frightened.
Now. Everything's going to be all right.
I'm afraid that I'm going to die. That someone is trying to kill me.
Oh, you're not going to die. That's ridiculous.
I'll call you and make an appointment.
That's better. Very well. In the meantime, try not to think about it. Keep your mind on the brighter side.
Yes. I'll try.
All afternoon and on into the evening, that awful gnawing of jealousy and fear occupied every moment. Gil and Beverly. How could they do such a thing? And how far will they go to get you out of the way, Lucia? Will they stop even at murder?
Are you asleep, Lucia?
No, I'm not asleep.
How are you feeling?
I seem to have developed a headache.
Have you eaten anything today?
No, I didn't care for anything.
Well, this will help you. Better take a dose now. I'll measure it for you.
What is it?
Well, it's the tonic.
Did Dr. Hanby prescribe it?
Yes. Yes, he did.
Where's Beverly?
Down in the library.
Did you buy the horse?
Yes, Beverly thought she was a fine animal.
I didn't know Beverly knew so much about horses.
She's a horsewoman after my own heart.
Is she?
Rides like the wind, too.
She had intended to go home tomorrow. Is she staying on?
She's got to. I wouldn't think of her leaving now.
Why not?
Well, for one thing, she's going to train the horse.
And what else?
Why, nothing else. Here, take this. It's a little bitter, but you'll get used to it.
Gil!
Go ahead, it won't hurt you.
I don't want it.
And why not?
It has poison in it.
I suppose it does have a little, yes. But only enough to act as a tonic.
I don't want it. I won't take it.
Are you going to act like a child? Take it and quit arguing.
I won't.
Take it, swallow it down.
I can't take it.
You're impossible, Lucy.
I'm afraid.
You need this medicine, but you're so confoundedly stubborn you'd rather sit around and mope all day. Very well, there it is. You can take it or not. I'm disgusted trying to help you pull out of this. Good night.
No. Wait, Gil. I'll take it.
I don't care whether you do or not.
There. I've taken it. Terribly bitter.
Well, that's more like it. Now take another dose around 11.
Gil, where's Mrs. Benson?
Why, I told her she could have the night off. Thought she might like to spend the evening in town.
You let her off?
Yes, she's been sticking pretty close lately.
Yes, she has. Good night.
Good night, Lucia.
What's wrong, Gil? You look upset.
I am. Lucia didn't want to take it.
No? Why not?
She's afraid of medicine.
What are you going to do?
She finally took a dose of it. But if I know her, she'll never take another drop.
She's got to take it, Gil. You've got to figure out a way to make her take it.
It can't be disguised. It's too bitter.
Try something else.
I'll try and coax her into it again.
Isn't there something that tastes more pleasant, or something you could put in milk or orange juice?
I don't know. But I'll find something.
Of course you will. You've got to.
She's... Wait a minute. There's someone listening outside the door.
Oh, sir.
Well, Benson, what are you doing standing here in the dark?
Why, I was just going upstairs to see if Mr. Durant wanted anything before I went out.
I see. By the way, I'm staying home for a couple of days, and I thought that since you've been staying so close to the job, you'd welcome a few days' leave.
Leave? Why, yes. But Mrs. Durant may prefer that I stay.
I think you'd better take a little rest yourself. You needn't come back till Friday.
But I don't need a rest.
You come back Friday.
Yes, very well, sir.
But that night, for once, the good Mrs. Benson disobeys orders. A few minutes before 12, she returns to the mansion. No lights are burning. So she makes her way quietly through the back entrance, slips up the stairs, and taps lightly on Lucia's bedroom door.
Mrs. Durant? Mrs. Durant?
Then she turns the knob, opens the door, and snaps on the light.
Mrs. Durant, are you here?
Then Benson steps quickly toward the bed. The bed is empty, but a horrible sight meets her eyes.
Blood! Blood all over the bed. Oh. Get me the police department.
All right, Mrs. Benson. Now, just calm down and tell us what happened this evening.
Well, earlier in the evening, Mr. Durant told me that I could have the night off since I'd been staying close to Mrs. Durant for some time. And then later he said he decided to let me off until Friday. I didn't want to go, but he insisted.
Was there anyone else in the house?
Yes, Mrs. Durant's half-sister, Beverly.
Did you leave the house?
Yes, but I sneaked up the back stairs and told Mrs. Durant I'd be back about midnight.
If you had till Friday, why did you come back at midnight?
Because we were both frightened.
Of what?
Well, Mrs. Durant had been having premonitions that someone was trying to kill her.
Who was trying to kill her?
She didn't know, but she was terribly frightened.
Is that all?
No. Her husband tried to get her to take some medicine he had brought home. She refused, and he got angry.
How do you know he was angry?
I heard him talking about it to Beverly. They were in the library. And he told Beverly that Lucia was stubborn. Beverly said that he'd have to think of some other way.
Did Mrs. Durant suspect her husband and Beverly of trying to do away with her?
Yes. Yes, she did. She was convinced that Mr. Durant and Beverly were in love and wanted her out of the way.
I see. Mm-hmm. Well, so you came back tonight because you anticipated that something was going to happen.
Yes. The house was dark, so I came up the back stairs, knocked on her door. When I got no answer, I came in, turned on the lights, saw she was gone, and then I saw the bed all covered with blood. She wouldn't take the poison, so they did it another way. That's what they planned in the library.
Where are they now? Any idea?
Well, they didn't expect me back tonight, so they're probably gone to dispose of the body, intending to come back here and clean the place up later.
I see. Anybody else know about Mrs. Durant's fears?
Yes, she talked to Dr. Hanby. I called him right after phoning the police and told him about it. He knows.
Dr. Hanby, Captain Blake. What in the world is the meaning of this?
From all indications, Mrs. Durant has been murdered and the body disposed of. Doctor, I understand Mrs. Durant told you that she was afraid that something was going to happen to her, that she was going to die.
Who told you that?
Mrs. Benson here.
I see. Well, she did call me in this morning. She'd been having strange dreams. Premonitions, she called them. I called them hallucinations.
Who do you think it was?
Well, she couldn't tell whether it was a man or a woman, but someone was always approaching her bed with outstretched arms, trying to choke her.
Do you think it was more than a dream?
She was a sort of hypochondriac. I asked her to come into town where I could give her a thorough examination. I didn't take her story too seriously, but this certainly puts a different slant on the entire picture.
Yes. We haven't found the body, but I have men out looking now. We'll find it.
Here's Mr. Durant and his sister-in-law. They found them about half-mile down the beach.
Oh, how are you, Durant?
What in the world goes on here? What's wrong, Doctor?
Take a look at that bed.
What happened? Lucia. Where is she?
We thought you might enlighten us on that point.
What do you mean? Where is she? Is Lucia dead?
Oh, Gil,
What happened?
We think your wife has been murdered.
Murdered? What are you doing here, Mrs. Benson? I thought you were gone till Friday.
Why did you tell her to go until Friday?
Why, I thought she needed a rest. She'd been having long hours. Where is Lucia?
Where have you and your sister-in-law been?
Why, I slipped upstairs and saw Lucia was asleep, so we decided to take a little ride down the beach. It was still early.
Mm-hmm. Didn't take anything with you?
Certainly not.
What do you mean by that? What would we take?
I don't know. I just asked. Did you two try to get Lucia to take some medicine?
No.
Wait a minute, Beverly. That won't do any good. Yes, we did. Lucia was run down and needed a tonic. But she refused to take medicine.
Why did she refuse?
I don't know.
Maybe she was afraid of being poisoned.
Poisoned? Why should I want to poison her? Lucia was my wife.
How long has your sister-in-law Beverly been here with you?
Well, I don't know. Quite some time.
Just a minute. Are you inferring that Gil and I...
I'm not inferring anything. I merely asked you a question.
Oh, Gil, tell him that...
Just a moment, Beverly. Mrs. Benson, what have you been saying? What did you tell them?
I told them the truth.
You think I planned to kill Lucia? Is that it?
Yes, you and this woman.
You're out of your mind.
You tried to get her to take some medicine. She knew you were in love with her sister and that you were trying to poison her.
And how did she come to that conclusion?
She had premonition.
That means nothing.
And besides, I heard you talking, you and Beverly, planning the whole thing.
What?
She's lying.
I heard you. And when you realized Lucia wouldn't take the medicine, Beverly said you'd have to think of some other way.
Some other way to what?
To get rid of her. To kill her.
There must be some... Dr. Hanby, you know better than this. Do you think I had a reason back of wanting to know about various medicines?
Well, no, I didn't. Not at the time, but now...
Now what?
Well, I'm sorry to say it all adds up to something suspicious. Seems more than just coincidental.
Do you think I killed Lucia?
Look about you. Look at the room. What else am I to think?
What was the tonic you tried to give your wife?
It had strychnine in it.
That right, Durant?
Oh, yes. It was one of the things Dr. Hanby mentioned. It was iron, quinine, and strychnine.
Did you mention that, Doctor?
Well, suppose I did. It's a commonly known tonic.
Did you add anything else to it, Durant?
Certainly not.
How about it, Sergeant? What's the report?
The bottle contained iron, quinine, and strychnine, and a heavy content of arsenic.
Arsenic? But that isn't possible. I put nothing in it. Where would I get arsenic?
It was in there just the same.
Doctor, this isn't true. You know it isn't.
I hate to say it, Gil. But the evidence looks bad for you.
Benson knows what this is all about. She's lying. She knows Gil wouldn't do such a thing. She's back of it all.
Why?
I don't know. But believe me, I'll find out if I have...
That'll do. Under the circumstances, I think you'd all better come down to headquarters so we can keep you separated. Come on. And no more talking.
After 48 hours of relentless grilling, endless questioning, Gil and Beverly are released on a writ of habeas corpus. Weeks go by, and Lucia's body has not been discovered, so the district attorney makes a public announcement that no murder charges can be preferred against them due to lack of corpus delicti, the failure to produce the body, Lucia's body. Then one evening, Beverly and Gil talked in the library.
Beverly, I want you to know how wonderful I think you've been. You stuck right beside me, never lost your nerve, and, well, you're one girl in a million.
Oh, thanks, Gil, but it isn't over yet. They won't stop their search for Lucia's body, and if they find it, we haven't a chance.
I know, but what can we do about it?
Well, why couldn't we leave the country?
Together?
Not necessarily. They'd be sure to follow us. But we could go separately in different ways, and...
And meet someplace later on? Is that what you mean?
Yes, that's what I mean.
It seems a bit mad. That would be equal to an out-and-out confession.
Oh, but Gil, if they find Lucia's body, we haven't a chance. It's too strong against us.
We could never come back, Beverly.
What of it? I don't want to die, Gil. And I don't want anything to happen to you.
Beverly, I don't know what to say.
I'm frightened, Gil. I can't stay here with such horrible fear hanging over me. I'll go mad. If you don't go, then I will. I'll leave tonight.
Please, Beverly, I need you more than ever now. Please don't go.
Don't worry, Gilbert. She won't leave you.
Lucia.
Good heavens, Lucia.
I won't let her leave you. I'll see that you both go together and stay together for a long, long time.
Lucia, what?
Lucia.
We thought you were dead.
Disappointed, aren't you?
Where have you been?
What are you going to do with that gun?
You thought I was dead. Well, I'm not. I'm live enough to pull this trigger. I've been hiding for weeks. And I've been behind those curtains for the last 20 minutes. I heard every word. Now I know you're in love with each other. Now I know you wanted to do away with me.
In love? Beverly and I?
From the day she came here. She took you away from me.
I did not.
We never thought of such a thing. Never.
Never entered our mind.
Why lie about it?
You've let your imagination run away with you, Lucia. You're insane.
You think so? Well, if I am, it's your fault. Yours and Beverly's. You've driven me insane, both of you. I had a plan to get even with you, to make you pay for what you've done, but it failed.
What plan?
You see, I didn't know about the law of corpus delicti, but I do now. And this time there will be a body. 2 bodies. Yours and Beverly's.
You're a suspicious-minded devil, Lucia.
I planned to trap you on a murder charge. My murder. But it's going to be your murder now.
You were convinced that Beverly and I were in love?
Of course. I never needed a dream nor a premonition. I cut myself and smeared blood on the bed and disappeared. When I found they couldn't touch you without the corpus delicti, I came back to kill you.
Lucia, you fool, you vicious-minded fool. I'm going to tell you something. And go ahead and shoot me if you will. Lucia, not until now, this very moment, has the thought of loving Beverly ever occurred to me.
You never loved Beverly?
No. But I can tell you this, Lucia. Now that I've seen you as you really are, I could never love you again, never.
Gil.
Wait, Beverly.
Well, I was sure. I was convinced that you would ever.
You were sure only because your warped, jealous mind convinced you that there was something between us.
You mean
You certainly made a sorry mess of your life, Lucia.
Then all I've done is killed your love. Oh, Gil.
Yes, Lucia. And you've no one to blame. No one but your own miserable self.
Gil!
Lucia! Don't, Lucia!
Oh, Gil. Gil!
Yes, Beverly. But it's probably the best thing for her and for us.
And so closes In Fear and Trembling, starring Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer's Mary Astor, tonight's tale of Suspense. The broadcast originated in Columbia Square in Hollywood. This is your narrator, the Man in Black, who conveys to you Columbia's invitation to spend this half hour in suspense with us again next Tuesday, when another of the screen's lovelier leading ladies, Geraldine Fitzgerald, will star in the uneasy drama called Will You Walk Into My Parlor? William Spear, the producer, Ted Bliss, the director, Bud Gluskin, the musical director, Lucian Morowick, the composer, and J. Donald Wilson, the author, collaborated on tonight's Suspense.
This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Our next broadcast brings together everything that was good about old-time radio rolled into one. The title itself almost sums up the very essence of what radio drama is all about. Each of the episodes was a microdrama, carefully planned to capture the listener's attention. Over 200 episodes were made, and almost all of them are as good today as they were over half a century ago. For the first few years the series was on air, the announcement at the start of the show varied almost every week, but by the 1950s, it had settled down to be the now famous, tired of the everyday grind? Ever dream of a life of romantic adventure? Want to get away from it all? We offer you Escape on HOJO Radio.
Escape. Into the world of adventure. Time to forget for the next half hour the four walls of today and escape beyond the horizons of the mind to yesterday and tomorrow. CBS and its affiliated stations present Escape. Tonight we escape with Rudyard Kipling and the two gentle scoundrels he created in his immortal story, The Man Who Would Be King. The time, sometime before yesterday. The place, the north of India. The man who tells the story, Rudyard Kipling.
One Saturday night, it was my unpleasant duty to put the paper to bed alone. It was a pitchy black night, as stifling as night can be in India in June. It was very still, save for the ticking of the clock above my desk, which seemed to shatter the black heat of the night as the hands crept toward 3 a.m. And then from the passage outside my door, I heard voices.
Your light burning, and it must be here. Open the door.
Who's there?
Only us.
Who are you?
He don't remember us, Dan. That he don't. How could he forget having us turned back at the Jodhpur border? Told the authorities we was impersonating newspaper reporters, he did.
Wait. That flaming red beard and that bald head. Why, you're Daniel Dravett and Peachy Carnahan.
The same.
Well, what do you want? If it's money, I haven't any. If it's a fight, it's simply too beastly hot.
You can rest yourself easy, sir, because we've come asking for naught except some information. We've been all over this country, and we've concluded that India isn't big enough for such as Daniel and me. So we're going away to be kings. Kings in our own divine right. What? Aye, we shall be kings. We've signed a solemn contract. Each day up the other, and neither of us will take a look at liquor or women until we become kings.
What? I've never heard of such a fantastic idea. But what is it you want of me?
Naught but to look at such maps of Kafiristan as you might have about.
Maps of Kafiristan?
That's where we've decided to go.
But don't you realize that not one single Englishman has ever gone into the Kafiristan mountains and lived to come out again? If you're really mad enough to go there, You're a good deal more likely to become dead men than kings.
We shall see.
Anyway, I don't believe you had the slightest intention of traveling a mile outside of Delhi.
Then you should come down to the Sarai marketplace in the morning, down where the caravans leave for the north.
Yes, come down to the Sarai in the morning and see if we be liars.
You should not laugh at him, Sahib. The witless are under the protection of Allah.
Quite so, boy. Who is the fellow anyway?
A mad priest, Sahib, who has arrived only this morning from Ajmer.
Yes, Sahib. Come to look at my camels, loaded with toys to please the eye of an Amir.
Oh, here, now, go about your business. I haven't any use for toys.
These are wondrous toys indeed, Sahib. Fit for a king of Kafiristan.
What? Good Lord. Daniel Dravin.
Quiet. Come along. I've 2 camels just beyond the wall here. The blessings of Pir Khan on the gracious Sahib, who consents to look at the poor toys of a priest from Ajmer. Over this way.
Where's Carnahan?
Here we are. Permit me to present my servant, Hazir Mir Khan.
At your service, goodman.
Well, I'll be...
Did you like our disguises? Do they pass?
If they fool this crowd in the Sarai, they're probably good enough to get you across the border and good enough to get you killed.
Getting killed is no part of the contract Peachy and me drawed up. Although perhaps killing fits in with our plans in a different sense. Feel around underneath the toys there in the camel bags.
What?
Go ahead.
Good Lord.
Rifles, 20 brand new Martinis, with ammunition to match.
And 20 good reasons to make your death certain. Any Pathan of the hill tribes would kill his own mother to get a rifle.
Now who would harm a poor mad priest, Sahib? Allah protects me.
Mad is right.
Then so was Lord Clive and Rhodes and Bonaparte. Drive out the camels, Peachy. We've a long way to go before we become kings. Hey, up!
As I stood and listened to the camel bells fade away in the distance, I wondered if it might not be a glorious thing to go to Kafiristan and be a king. 3 years pass in India, much as they pass in any other land. It grows, then the rains come, and then the heat again. Some colonel at a hill station puts down an uprising. A new viceroy comes out from London, and the paper duly records the death of a sultan in Rajputana, and the trees in the courtyard grow a few feet taller. Finally, time in its circle turned up another night, much like the one 3 years before. Once again I sat alone in the office, listening to the clock and waiting for some unimportant item to come over the wire from Europe. It was long after midnight when my office door slowly opened. I say, look here, you might knock first, you know.
No.
Good Lord, man. What's wrong?
You don't know who I am, do you?
No, I haven't the faintest idea. But here, you'd better sit down, old fellow. You're in a bad way.
Yes. Thank you. It's a whole year I've been walking. Right here in this very office we settled it. You sitting right there and giving us the maps. You've been sitting there ever since. 3 years.
No. Oh, no. Why, a man couldn't change that much in 3 years. You're not Peachy Carnahan.
Yes. I was king of Kafiristan. Me and Daniel Dravin. Real crown kings we was. Just as true as gospel.
What in the name of heaven have they done to you, Peachy?
Peachy? I knew Peachy Carnahan, but he's a king. Wears a real golden crown on his head. He does.
He's dead now, though. No. You're Peachy Carnahan. You must pull yourself together, man.
Pull myself. You've got to keep looking into my eyes. Maybe everything will go to pieces.
All right. Now, tell me what happened, Peachy.
We left the caravan at Jagdala. We struck off into the hills alone.
Go on.
Weeks it was we traveled, Daniel and me. First there wasn't no roads, and after a while, no food. But there was always the drums. Sometimes they was close, sometimes farther off. But most of the time we could hear them somewhere.
Well, up! Move along there. Here now. No place to be stopping. Up with you.
I'm fearing it's no use, Daniel.
What's got into it?
The poor beasts are done in and starved, same as ourselves. We'll go no further.
Then we'll go on without them. I've not come this far to die on the side of a mountain.
Wait. Look, Daniel. Over the edge of the rocks.
What? Oh, men they are.
There'll be a score or more of them. One goes ahead of the rest.
And naught but bows and arrows. Break out a pair of the rifles, Peachy.
Right you are, Daniel.
Now that we start to become kings.
Here, some cartridges, too.
Easy now, Peachy. I'll drop the straggler at the rear first, and then we'll lay a few at their feet. Now on to the one in front. We may need him. Now.
Daniel! Look at them!
Aye, flat on their blooming faces.
The leader is come out alone.
Well and good, and we'll go part way to meet him, Peachy. But keep your rifle by.
Look at him, Daniel. He be as fair as us, with yellow hair.
So he does. Part of the lost tribes, these people are.
He stopped.
Are you awake, your command? Or ye who speak in the voice of thunder?
Oh, the Lord, Harry. Peachy, we're in luck. It's the old Afghan tongue he speaks. Speak up! Who are you, and whence do you come?
I am High Priest, and the chief of the village of Bashkai. A journey of only a few heartbeats.
This Bashkai, how many people?
They are numbered in the thousands.
There are more villages in the hills?
More than a man has fingers and toes.
Hear that, Peachy? Here's our kingdom made to order. And you're going to take us to Bashkai. Do you understand?
I understand the voice of thunder that you speak.
Oh, he's a smooth one, Peachy. He knows a thing or two. What's your name? That's too long. What you call him, Peachy?
He has a look about him of an old soldiering friend of ours. Billy Fish.
So he does. We bestow a new name on you. From now on, you will be Billy Fish.
As you command, I obey.
All right. Put this on your drums. Tell them 2 kings have come out from the mountaintop. 2 kings that speak in words of thunder so the earth trembles. Tell them 2 kings have come to Kafiristan. That you, Peachy?
Daniel, why be you sitting here in the dark?
I've been thinking. A man has to stop and think sometimes.
About anything special, Daniel?
Look at them, Peachy. Look at their blinking campfires are gleaming in the dark like the jewels in a crown.
Aye, Daniel. You've done a fine job for sure. All 23 villages you joined together as one.
'Tis the army you trained to be thanked for it. 2,000 men with a fair knowledge of bearing arms.
Some's a bit green at it yet.
They're ours now, every man, jack, woman, and child. We own them, body and soul.
Aye, we're kings now, Daniel. Not proper kings yet, but we will be.
Sooner than you think, Peachy.
How's that?
Billy Fish told me something today that fair amazed me. These people know the craft.
You mean they're Freemasons, Daniel? Oh, it ain't no wise possible.
To help me, it's gospel true. He give me the grip and everything. It's old, the craft is, older than the memory of man. And up here in the hills, they've been preserving it all these years.
Why, some of the high priests know up through the fellowcraft, but they don't know the third degree. See it, Peachy? They don't know the third degree, but we do. Daniel, what is it you're fixing to do? We're going to be proper kings. We're going to get them going and coming now. I'm going to turn the whole country into one grand lodge, raise some of the priests to third degree, and for me, I'll be the Grand Master of Kafiristan. Oh, but you ain't got the right to. We never been officers in no lodge. Right? What's the king got to do with asking for a right? Oh, I'm against it, Daniel. It's no good to go fooling around with the crap. You talk like an old woman. The thing'll work, I know it will. We'll make it a blooming ceremony. Regular aprons with the symbol and the marks. All of us, Peachy. The kings of Kafiristan.
Everything is prepared, Master. And the priests and the people wait.
Well, they don't have to wait much longer, Billy. Here now, Peachy. How do you like my apron? It's a wondrous sight up there, Daniel. Made of white ermine skin it is. And the master's mark with emeralds studded. The mark? You know the meaning of the mark? That I do. What's got into you, Billy?
Not. 'Tis a thing that's passing strange, Master.
Strange and rubbish. Come along now. Ready, Peachy?
Right with you, Daniel.
Then out we go. Onto the temple steps. We'll give them what for. Knock their blinking eyes out. That's what we'll do. Look at them, Peachy! Got down on their blooming knees! I'm getting their forwards off!
The mark! It is time! The promised ones have come!
Here now. What's wrong with the priest, Billy?
It looks like trouble, Daniel. No. Stand where you are, Master. They recognize the mark.
That great stone in the floor. Why do they turn it over?
Wait.
It's the sign! There's the mark! The promised ones have come!
Speak up, Billy Fish. What's the meaning of it?
See for yourself. Look.
Daniel. Carved on the back of the stone. Is the master's mark all right?
And the same as the sign you wear. Only a few of the priests have known of the hidden mark on the stone.
What does it mean?
The many who have doubted you were a god doubt no longer.
And you, Billy? What do you think?
I, Master? I think that now it is the time for these.
Daniel! Golden crowns! Aye, how they glitter. Fit for the brow of a king. 'Tis what we came for. Here now, put 'em on. We'll crown ourselves in our own right. Something we come here to be kings, and that we are, all right. But blamed if we ain't a couple of blooming gods to boot, with 1 million people down on their knees before us.
Well enough, Peachy. So it was gods you became as well as kings. But then, what happened? What became of Daniel Draft?
Dravot. I knew Daniel Dravot once. He's a king now, Daniel is. Where's the golden crown? Conan was with him.
Peachy, try to pull yourself together.
I'll try.
Now, you became king, you and Daniel. Kings of all Kafiristan.
He was a fine figure, Daniel was, with his red head wearing that golden crown. Kept himself aloof from the people, so to speak. And when he walked up before the temple, the fair crawled on their stomachs to worship him.
But what happened, man?
Happened? Well, I figure mostly it was winter coming on. The winds were starting up, and the clouds was blowing down from the north. Oh, it could blow beastly cold, that winter wind.
Hey? Who's out there? That you, Billy? Confound it anyway. Here now. What's this?
I brought you food, Master. Yours wine sheep with curry and rice.
Up off your knees, girl. Bring it inside.
Thank you, Master.
Place it there. Now, you're a well-favored wench.
I do not understand.
Why were you crawling on your knees?
It is a fitting way to approach the god of Kafiristan.
What's your name, girl?
Marum of danger.
Marum, eh? You married?
It has not yet been my happy fortune, Master.
Are you afraid of me?
You are a god.
I mean, how do I seem to you? Do you find me pleasing or what?
Your face is more wondrous than the noonday sun. And your look of eagle.
Very well, you may leave now.
Thank you, Master.
Marum, eh? Peachy! Peachy!
Is you calling me, Daniel? Oh, the food's here, eh? Good.
Knock that wind outside. Winter's about due to strike and fill the trails with snow. There'll be little moving about before spring.
What you are?
Peachy, I've decided to take a wife.
But you can't do it, Daniel. We made a contract.
That was till we was kings. Well, kings we've been many months now.
Oh, but it's no good. I tell you now, I'm against it.
Against it? You was against using the craft, too. But look what it done for us.
Oh, but this is different. Billy Fish will tell you no, too, the same as I do.
Billy Fish, huh? Who's the king here, him or me? My mind's made up. 3 days from now, I shall have me a wife. And you can put it on the drums and tell every blighter out there in the hills. The kingdom of Kafiristan is going to have a queen. What's keeping her, Peachy? They should have brought her in here half an hour ago.
I don't know, Daniel.
How about you, Billy Fish? You put 'em up to stalling off deliberate like?
Certain preparations must be made, Master. She's across the court with some of the priests. Maybe they're trying to hearten her up a bit, Daniel. She thinks she's going to die, you know.
Die, indeed. Why, I'm only...
Master, it is against the laws of heaven for a woman to marry a god.
I'm not a god. I'm a man. You know that by now, Billy.
No, and I should not want to think so, Master. But either way, this can mean only trouble. I beg you to reconsider.
And I beg you to shut up, Billy. I'm through waiting. I'm going over there.
Master Priest, we've got to go with him, Billy. And I'm thinking it's going to mean trouble. How many men can you depend on? No more than 20 with rifles. Most of my men are in Bashkai. Then what shall we do? We shall have to make a run for it, I fear. We might be safe in Bashkai.
Go on now, you struggling fools. Bring out the girl. Well, now, that's better. Here, girl, this is no way for a bride to behave. Just smile now, and give us a kiss. Out! The wench is buckling.
Blood, Master. Don't let them see the blood.
They can't do this. I'm the king. I'll come back and beat their blasted heads in. That's what I'll do.
Oh, Daniel, we'll be back all right.
How much further, Billy?
Only a short way. Beyond this ridge, Master.
Well, so far, so good. Last of them blooming drums has stopped.
We're at the top, Daniel.
Right, good climbing.
Oh,
wait. Look. It seems the drums have come before us, Master. Cut off. Not less than 1,000 of them standing there quiet like, with them wicked long knives in their hands.
There'll be no getting past them, Daniel.
No. We're done for. Go back, Billy Fish, and take your men away with you. Go with him, Peachy. It's me they want. I did it. Me, the king.
No, Dan. I'm sticking with you. Billy Fish, you clear out.
I am your friend. I stay with you. You're a good man, Billy.
They be coming now, Daniel.
Peachy.
Get it, Daniel. I forgive you freely and fully.
Then let them come. There'll be one thing they can't change, Peachy. We've been kings. Kings in our own right. Kings of all Kafiristan.
Sliced open poor Billy Fish like a blooming herring they did. There in the snow and the rock.
Good Lord, man. But you got away from them.
Like no way did I get away from them. They had us prepared all right. Strung me out on a tree. Drove nails right through my hands, they did. See? But I pulled them all right. 'Cause morning came, I wasn't nowise dead. And then I made them think I'd lost my senses. I was afraid to harm me because I was protected by Allah. They cut me down then, and after a while, they let me go.
You poor devil. But what of Dravit? What happened to Daniel?
Daniel's the king. He wears the golden crown.
But now, what happened to him?
He's never left me. All them long months walking on the road back kept me safe. The mountains, they danced at night. But Daniel held up his hands and Peachy came along, bent double. I never let go of Daniel's hand. That Daniel's head that they gave me in the temple as a present is with me now. Here, in this bundle. You knew old Daniel's. Him that was a monarch once. Look at him now. Well, and now you have seen that we was really kings. I'll be on my way. You'll pardon me, sir?
I let him go. There was little else to do. He was only hours away from his death. I sat there and stared at the bundle he had left lying on my desk. Stared as the pale shaft of dawn struck fire in the red beard. Stared at the golden crown, sitting too large and heavy upon the wrinkled, mummified head of Daniel Dravit, the man who would be king. produced and directed by William N. Robeson. Tonight's story, Rudyard Kipling's The Man Who Would Be King, was adapted for radio by Les Crutchfield and featured Raymond Lawrence as Peachy, Eric Snowden as Daniel Gravitt, and Herbert Rawlinson as Kipling. Musical effects were created and conducted by Cy Feuer. Next week, CBS and its affiliated stations invite you to escape in Operation Fleur de Lis, an episode from the files of the OSS. And so, good night, until a week from tonight, when again we invite you to escape. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Thanks for listening to HOJO Radio. We have more classic radio coming your way next.
Escape. Escape tonight to occupied France and the underground. The Columbia Broadcasting System and its affiliated stations present Escape, a new series of programs of which this, the second, is Operation Fleur de Lis, written and directed by William N. Robeson. Today, the 14th of July, the people of a free France celebrate the anniversary of their escape from the tyranny of the kings of Versailles. 158 years ago today, the people of Paris stormed the Bastille and let loose the French Revolution. The torch of liberty set afire that day never burned more fiercely than during the years when France was occupied by the Nazis. We escape tonight to occupied France, from which 3 years ago there was no escape.
You can call me Duke. Don't use my right name. I might want to go back to France someday. And there are a lot of people in the world that wouldn't understand that what I did was justified in the war. No, I don't have any regrets. Moral ones, that is. It isn't what I did to Renee that keeps me awake at night. Just the memory of her. There isn't much about her in my official report on Operation Fleur de Lis, but then it isn't customary to include descriptions of slim, sunburned legs and wide, deep brown eyes in a military document. And anyway, she was only an incident in the operation, even if she became somewhat more important to me. Operation Fleur de Lis began, like all the others, in the grubby, undistinguished house in London, which was the headquarters of the OSS, the Office of Strategic Services, otherwise known in various parts of the world as screwballs, cutthroats, spies, cloak and dagger boys, and American underground agents.
Gentlemen, Operation Fleur de Lis is planned to assist the advance of our forces once they've secured a beachhead in Normandy.
Is that where we're going in, Major?
That is one of the possibilities, Lieutenant.
Yes, sir.
You will jump over Grand Mont in northern France, here on the map. You have to set up roadblocks on these 3 state highways. Here, here, and here.
There is an underground contact near Grand Mont?
Yes, Alcine Dutton. He's leader of the local Maquis. He's expecting him. In addition, you have to block these railroad lines entering and leaving Grand Mont. These operations are to coincide with the advance of our ground forces.
If they land in Normandy.
If they land in Normandy. You will enplane tonight at 2100 hours and will drop over your objective at, I should think, approximately 2230. Any questions?
No, I don't think so, sir. Well, yes, sir, I have a question.
Yes, Lieutenant?
How many of us are going on this mission?
Just the 2 of you.
Just the 2 of us. And all we had to do was organize an underground army, disrupt the supply lines of a half a dozen Nazi divisions, and give support to the entire Allied invasion. Just the 2 of us. But that's the way the OSS worked. But nobody ordered Hill and me into it. We'd volunteered. I don't know why. Maybe for moments like this one, when you get a B-24 assigned to you as a personal taxi, and there's lots of room to sprawl around after bombing.
How do you feel?
Fine. Scared? Of course I'm scared, aren't you?
Me? No. This is a war. walk. You forget how tough it was when we were at paratroop school at Benning.
Yeah, that was real rugged.
If the wind wasn't right, you might land in the Chattahoochee and get all wet.
And it was always a chance that you'd sprain your ankle coming down too hard.
And the sun was so bright on some of those daylight jumps.
Whereas we got none of those things to worry about here. A nice, pitch black night over France. No sun to blind us. No Chattahoochee River to fall into.
Hey, Lieutenant.
Yes, Sergeant.
Skipper wants to talk to you on the intercom.
Thanks.
Here, use my cam.
Thank you. Duke here.
Lieutenant, I'm over your objective.
Any signal from the ground?
Yes, the one range. 4 dots, 2 dashes. Green.
Very well.
You and Lieutenant Hill move into the Bombay catwalk. I'll open Bombay doors in 30 seconds.
Roger.
Good luck.
Thanks. Sergeant, stand by to jump those supplies as soon as we're clear.
Yes, sir.
Come on, Ed. This, as someone has said, is it.
So soon? Just as I was settling down a good course. Bombay doors are opening, sir.
Okay, Sergeant. All right, Ed, let's check your harness.
The Frank will miss. I just can't seem to a thing with it.
I know, but this is the last party you'll have to wear it on. Okay. How am I?
Well, don't look now, but your chute's showing.
Tuck it in. Let's get out on a catwalk.
Wow, a refreshing breeze.
And all of France on our feet.
You see the signal?
That's what I'm looking for. There it is. Over to the left. Got it?
Got it. Let's go!
You kid. Sure you kid. It helps. But those 10 seconds while you fall free, nothing helps. You hang on to the ripcord and you count off the seconds and you try not to count too fast. Your hand on that ripcord is the only certain thing in the world as you tumble head over teacup with a wind tearing sound from your ears. And there's only one thought, always the same thought, whether it's your first or your 50th jump. Will the chute open? It does. Yanking at your armpits, knocking the breath out of you, slowing you down, and you swing there like a rag doll trying to get your bearings. First, you make out the horizon. That's where the black becomes darker black, where the stars stop. And you wonder about Ed, but you can't risk calling out. And now that you're located where the stars are, you look for the signal light, and there it is, slightly to the left. So you tug at your shroud line, spilling a little air to guide you toward it. And it's coming toward you awfully fast. And you hope this particular French patriot has picked out a field free of trees and church steeples. And then you try to remember all the things they taught you about hitting the ground and rolling with the wind and collapsing your chute. Because it's always like this. You always feel like you've never hit the silk before. And then you're down, and you roll just right, and you collapse your chute, and it's second nature to you after all. And then you hear footsteps running toward you. And you remember another important instruction. You whip out your automatic, and you hope your French is good enough to get you by. Ivan, who is it?
Alcine here.
Fleur.
Lee.
Okay, Alcine, come on.
Glad you've arrived, Lieutenant.
So it seems.
You have no idea how long we've wished for this moment.
Hold it. That's my partner. Come on. Hey, Ed.
Over here, Duke.
You okay?
My empennage is slightly damaged, otherwise okay.
This is Alcine, our contact. Alcine, Lieutenant Hill.
Hello, Alcine.
Lieutenant, it is a great pleasure to make your acquaintance. And on behalf of my countrymen...
Now, let's get these chutes buried and blow this place. Where's your transportation, Alcine?
We haven't any.
What? Where's the safe house?
You might be able to stay at my aunt's. I don't think she'd talk.
You don't think, aren't you sure?
Oh, yes, I'm supremely confident that
Where are the Germans?
They're everywhere. And that is why I'm so glad you're here. Now we can fight again. With your help, we will kill many Boche.
Oh, wait a minute. How many are there in your marquee?
Myself and 2 others.
Just 3 of you?
Oh, my aching back.
But now that the Americans are here, we can do anything.
Oh, why don't they get these things straight in London? How can we block roads with a 3-man marquee?
3 men and an aunt who perhaps will not talk.
Well, let's get cracking.
Duke, you're not going through with this mad venture, are you?
What would you suggest?
Well, as for me, I'm all for taking the next plane back to London.
Another piece of bread, Lieutenant.
No, thank you, ma'am.
This bone chicken is delicious. How do you call it?
K-ration.
Supreme. There's nothing like it since the boss came.
Yeah, well, you get used to it.
And cigarettes don't marry. Cigarettes made of real tobacco. Ah, you Americans have everything.
Madame, Alcine, you are kind, you are hospitable. But the comforts of K-ration will not block roads. We need men. We must form a marquee.
But we have a marquee.
Look, Alcine, there are 3 of you and 2 of us. Sure, we've got guns and we've got ammunition and supply chutes somewhere out in that field where we landed. We've got arms for 50 men. But if we had those men, we still couldn't go to war against the German division.
Now, you said yourself there's at least a division garrisoned in Grammont.
What must we do?
First, we must organize a marquee. We need men. Can you get them?
I can go into the village and talk to my friends.
Should have done that a long time ago.
Faustine, that would be most unwise.
Why?
Didn't you know? Faustine is a patriot. He's a deserter from the Vichy army, so he's wanted by the Gestapo.
Oh, great. And there's a Gestapo headquarters in Grandma, of course.
Of course. Faustine is not one to run from danger.
Quite the contrary.
Can get Renee to help.
Who's Renee?
Fastine's sweetheart, a lovely girl from Paris. Poor thing, she had to come down to the country because her house was bombed out.
Let's leave her out of this.
But, Lieutenant, she would be most happy to help.
Alcine, you got a lot to learn about guerrilla warfare. You might as well study your first lesson right now. It's short and to the point. No games. Well, the next day, we collected the supplies, which had been dropped with us, and we set up a camp deep in the woods. Hill and I were loaded with French money, so we were able to buy food from the friendly farms. Maybe it was the food as much as patriotism that brought us recruits. Anyway, after a week, we had nearly 30 men. Our marquee wasn't big enough for the job we had to do, but it was growing in the right direction. And then one night, as I was winding up a report for London... Oh? What do they say? What do they ever say? Message acknowledged. Carry on.
Well, what about new batteries for the radio? What about extra ammunition for the Buck Rogers guns? When are they going to get another drop to us?
Why don't you ask them?
Yeah, I know.
They do the best they can, I guess. After all, we're not the only Boy Scouts in this jamboree.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Duke.
Yeah?
There goes Alcine again off toward the road.
What? Hey, Alcine!
Yes?
Come here a minute.
Yes, Lieutenant.
Where are you going?
I was just taking a stroll.
You on night guard?
Not tonight.
You weren't on night guard last night, were you?
No, Lieutenant.
Or the night before?
No, sir.
But you weren't in camp all night, were you?
No, sir.
What's the matter? Don't you like the camp? Rather sleep at your aunt's? Is it too rugged out here for you?
No, sir.
Then where were you?
In the village.
You know the orders. No one is to go into the village.
Yes, Lieutenant, but I only go in at night.
That makes no difference.
But it does. You see, Lieutenant, I'm so in love.
Oh, great. The girl from Paris?
Yes. You should see her, Lieutenant. She's the most beautiful, the most charming,
Don't you know you're endangering the whole marquee by disobeying my orders?
Oh, no, sir. There's no danger with Renee. She hates the bush. Why, she wants to join us.
You told her about us?
Oh, yes, sir.
Are you out of your mind? How do you know she's all right?
I just know that's all. She's the most wonderful person in the world. She's a real patriot.
I told you, rule number 1 is no game.
Yes, but Renee is different.
Yeah. Well, you better marry her before you bring her around here, or you'll have to share with the rest of these walls.
Lieutenant, do I understand you?
Forget it, Elsie. It's just an American figure of speech.
May I tell Renee she can join us?
Well, not quite yet. Later, maybe.
Yes, Lieutenant. Is that all?
Yeah, that's all.
If you got to take it, Alcine, take it easy.
I do not understand.
Just another American idiom, Elsie. Good night.
Good night, sir.
Hey, Duke. You gonna let him get away with that?
Well, what are we going to do?
Slap him into the guardhouse for 30 days.
Only this isn't the American Army. We haven't any guardhouse.
Yeah, stinks from a security standpoint.
I know. We try to keep these boys from sneaking off home every now and then. We're not going to have any marquee.
He's French. An immoral race.
I don't know about that. Remember Phoenix City, Alabama?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I see what you mean.
There wasn't anything we could do. If we'd ordered Alcine to stay in camp, he'd have sneaked off anyway. He had that dreamy, faraway look that's baffled parents, teachers, and first lieutenants since the beginning of time. I didn't worry too much about it because our marquee was growing. Ed Hill and I were breaking our backs pushing those French kids through an ersatz basic in 3 weeks. Headquarters in London didn't tell us much, but we did know from the BBC that the boys had landed at Omaha Beach, and it wouldn't be long before they'd be needing our roadblock. And then one morning, about D+4, I think it was, I was out in the woods running a squad through concealment drill.
Oh, no. Hit the dirt. Don't wait or you're dead. When you see the signal, hit the dirt right now.
Pardon me, Lieutenant.
Huh? Oh, Alcine. Where have you been all night as though I didn't know?
Lieutenant, I've got to talk to you.
Okay, I'll be through here in a half hour or so.
I've got to talk to you now.
All right, Elsie.
Okay, boys, take 5.
Come along, Elsie. What's on your mind?
Lieutenant, my family's been killed.
Oh, no.
Yes, by the Gestapo. They set fire to the house. My mother, my father, and my 2 sisters. They ran out, the Gestapo shot them.
You're sure of this?
Yes, I heard it this morning from the neighbor who saw what happened.
Poor kid.
When can we attack, Lieutenant? When can we stop this endless training and fight the Boche? No, I want only to kill and kill and kill until I paid them back for my father, my mother, my 2 sisters.
Yeah, I know. You'll get your chance, Elsie, but not yet. We gotta wait. We're not ready yet.
I'm ready. Before I wanted to fight the Boche for my country. Now I want to kill him again and again. For them.
I know, but you gotta be patient.
It should happen to me now. Only last night Renee said she'd marry me. Come to live here with me in the camp. I was so happy. And this morning I learned this news.
When did you hear from your mother last?
Not for a month since we began to work, but I've written her every week.
You have? Who mailed the letters?
Renee mailed them for me. She's so kind and thoughtful. She offered to mail letters home for the other boys, too.
That was nice of her. Did they take advantage of her offer?
A couple of them.
Who?
Paul and Joan. I told them about it and they wrote their families.
And Renee mailed the letters, huh?
Yes, she's a wonderful person, Lieutenant. You're going to love her.
Yeah, I think I am.
She's all I've got in the world now.
2 and 2 make 4 in occupied France, just the same as anywhere else. And sometimes it's just as hard to prove. But one thing was sure. Now I wanted to meet Renee in the worst way. But I had to postpone the pleasure because early that afternoon one of the outposts broke into camp out of breath. Yes, Paul.
The Boche. They're coming down the road through the forest.
How many?
I did not stop to count them. Several truckloads, to be sure.
Pass the word to Lieutenant Hill. Ask him to bring his detail into camp on the double.
Yes, Lieutenant.
Alcine.
Yes, sir?
Take 2 men and go down by the road and see what they're up to.
Yes, sir.
Just reconnoiter. Don't fire at them.
But this is my chance for revenge.
Listen to me. Don't fire at them. That's a command.
Yes.
They may not be after us at all. Now get going.
Immediately, Lieutenant.
What's the order of the day, Duke?
Lance Graham? Yeah, it looks like it. All your men here?
Present accounted for.
All right, boys, now gather around, will you, and get this. There's a convoy of Germans coming down the forest road. Now, wait a minute. We're not going to fight them. You know what our job is. Blocks. We've got tanks, artillery, and airplanes that'll be along soon to do the killing. Now, look, our security's been pretty good. And those Krauts may be on a routine patrol. Chances are they don't even know we're here.
They do now. Listen.
Yeah. Well, that does it. All right. You men got your weapons? Good. Well, you know the procedure. Get lost. Before you leave the forest, bury your weapons, ammunition, and equipment. Rendezvous at the home of Alcine's aunt at 2200 hours tonight. Good luck. Come on, Ed, let's...
Well, he who doesn't fight and runs away lives to fight another day.
Or something like that.
Who tipped them off?
I'm not sure, but I got a pretty good idea.
Who's down there at the road?
Alcine. He's fighting a private war, the poor jerk. Basic rule of 3 in guerrilla warfare is surprise, kill, vanish. However, when you're surprised, the only rule is vanish. And we did. There were about 50 Germans and a half a dozen dogs to track our scent. They spent the day thrashing through the woods, firing into the underbrush and finding nothing. What a classic withdrawal. And Hill and I were proud of our little army, with the exception of Alcine, its self-appointed hero. When we arrived at his aunt's house that night for the rendezvous, a half a dozen of the boys were already there.
Who is it?
Fleur.
De Lis. Lieutenant, come in.
Good evening, madame.
I've seen him already here. I'm so proud of him.
Lieutenant, I was just telling Tante Marie and the boys it was magnificent. I got 2 of them. I killed 2 Boche.
Your orders were not to shoot.
But, Lieutenant, what would you?
What happened to the other boys who were with you?
Jean was wounded and captured. Antoine became frightened and ran away.
That blows the Marquis. They'll get the full particulars from Joan.
They haven't got him already.
I'm sorry, Lieutenant, but...
Quiet. Answer it, madame.
Who is it?
Look.
De Lis.
Open it.
Good evening, madame.
Come in, boys.
In any trouble, boys? As you see, we are here. Yeah. Not for long. Lieutenant,
yes,
Raoul and I wish to withdraw from the Marquis.
Quit? Why?
The risk is too great.
You afraid?
For myself, no. But after what happened to John.
He was wounded and captured. We all take that risk.
Yes, but last night the Gestapo got John's family. Like they did Alcine's.
No.
Stood them up in front of their house and shot them.
No.
Who knows who'll be next? My mother, Raoul's sister, Alcine's aunt. I wish to withdraw.
I don't know why. Right, now, wait a minute. I don't blame you for being worried about your family. But whose families do you think the British and American armies up in Normandy are fighting to liberate? Their own? No, yours. Now, this thing isn't as bad as it looks. There's been a leak in our security. Somebody's been putting a finger on us. So we lay low until the leak's plugged.
But the Germans are everywhere. Spies, perhaps, too, are everywhere.
I think I know who's responsible for these murders. I'll make a deal with you. Give me a couple of days to work it out. We'll issue you boys some money, and all you've got to do is to get lost until Saturday night. And then meet me back here. If I haven't patched up our security by then, you can all quit the Marquis and become collaborators.
No,
No one wishes to collaborate.
But one must think of one's family.
Okay. Ed.
Yeah, Duke.
Give the boys 1,000 francs apiece.
Right. Come and get it, boys.
Alcine.
Yes, my lieutenant?
I'm going to have a little time on my hands for the next couple of days. You think you could arrange to introduce me to your girlfriend?
Oh, but of course, Lieutenant.
Maybe, if she's okay, like you say, we can let her sign up.
I am desolated with happiness, Lieutenant.
One thing. None of that lieutenant business around her until I make sure she's all right.
Very well.
You think my French is good enough to pass as a native?
But of course, Lieutenant.
All right, then pass me off as a friend of yours. Let's see, I'll need a name. Let's call me Jacques Dufresne.
Jacques Dufresne. Good, I will make the arrangements immediately.
I thought you'd like an excuse to get into town tonight. The next afternoon, Alcine brought the girl out to the woods near his aunt's house. I stood behind a tree to watch and make sure they weren't being followed. She was all right. Tall, long, sunburned legs, her hair caught in a blue ribbon like a little girl's. I let them walk by, and then I stepped from behind my tree.
Oh, there you are, Jacques.
Hello, Alcine.
Rene, this is my good friend Jacques Dufresne. He's from Paris, too. Jacques, this is Rene de Cibourg.
Glad to meet you, mademoiselle.
And I'm honored to meet you, monsieur. Where do you live in Paris?
Near the Porte du Lilas. But my home is no longer there. It was bombed out.
Alas, so is mine.
My family remain with friends, but I've come out of the country to fight with the resistance.
Jacques has much influence with the commander of our Marquis.
Oh, I hope you will be able to persuade him to let me join you, monsieur.
I shall do what I can.
It would be a privilege and an honor to work with a patriot like you.
See, Jacques, I told you Rene was all right.
You didn't tell me the half of it. Mademoiselle, you understand that we must be cautious. There are questions I must ask of a confidential nature.
Why don't we meet again? Alone.
Why not?
Say, tonight? I have a little car. We might take a drive.
Fine.
But, Rene, you promised me that...
See, some other time, monsieur. Remember, France comes first.
We just drove that night. She was wearing a white ribbon in her hair and a loose white dress and no stockings. We just drove around in her little Citroën with the top down and the wind blowing her hair like a girl in a magazine ad. Then we came back about midnight and parked for the bridge. I felt like I was back in high school in Illinois.
Look at those stars, Jacques.
Yeah.
So many of them. So close you can almost reach out and touch them.
Yeah.
I had them all once, Jacques. I reached out and gathered them all in my arms once.
Yeah?
I want you to know all about me, Jacques.
I want to.
Don't think it's wrong of me. But I've been in love.
There's nothing wrong in being in love.
He was a soldier.
Most everybody is these days.
A German soldier.
Oh.
Don't you think that love is bigger than war or hate or anything?
Yeah, I guess so.
He's dead now.
That's good. I'm sorry. I mean, I didn't mean to hurt you. I'm not sorry he's dead.
I've been so confused. I want to understand things. I want to be intelligent about things. But everything gets so mixed up. Like now.
Like now?
Yes. Like I've never been so happy as I am tonight.
Not even with the German?
Not even with him. Why does it have to end? Why do those blessed stars have to go out one by one to make way for another day of war? Why can't we stop time? You and I. And gather all the stars together. Just for us.
I don't know, baby. Never been done before. But we can try. Yeah.
Tomorrow night?
Same time, same place. Forever if you say the word.
Forever.
Sure, why not? Who knows how long forever is in this crazy world? Why not have it together? Why not get married?
Why not, my most beloved?
See you tomorrow night.
I'll only be half alive until then. Sean, if you want to write to your family in Paris, give me the letter tomorrow night, and I'll mail it for you.
Oh, no. All right, drop that rock and grab a sock. Rise and shine, lover boy. I brought you a cup of chocolate. Figured you want breakfast in bed this morning. Okay. How'd you make out last night? Okay. Details? What's up with details? Nothing much to report. We drove, and then we parked for a while and talked. Did you give anything away? No information. She's a funny kid. Her dialogue is as corny as a bobby sausage. She knows she's pretty, so she wants to be admired for her mind. But I'm sure she's Armada Hari. How come? She offered to mail a letter to my family. That's consistent. I asked her to marry me. What? She didn't believe me, but she pretended like she did. Oh, I don't know why she's doing what she's doing. Thrills, maybe. French juvenile delinquent. Maybe. Tonight's the night. The night you get married? No, the night we get her. The boys are meeting here at midnight, you know. What's the plan? Well, I'll take another ride with her. And about midnight, we'll be back and park for the bridge. You be there out of sight. I'll have some brandy along, and I'll slug her a drink with a capture pill. When she's passed out, I'll give you the come on, and you join me. Here, baby, have another drink, huh?
I shouldn't. Brandy always makes me sleepy.
Well, what of it? This is a celebration of our engagement.
Oh, kiss me, Jacques. Again and again.
Sure.
Jacques, the stars are near. Nearer than they've ever been.
Nearer than you think, baby.
I love you, Jacques. I do love you. Kiss me again. Do it again. And again.
Lenny. Baby. Are you asleep? You collaborationist pig, can you hear me? Okay, Ed. She out? Like a red light in an air raid. Here's her purse. Step through it while I untangle myself. Let's take a look at this. What is it? A letter from Gestapo headquarters confirming receipt of 3 addresses. Let me see that. Well, that one's Alcine's family, and that one's John's. And here's a Gestapo identification card. Flash your light over there. Look at her. What a dish. Look at that kisser. She's responsible for the death of 6 people whose only crime was being born French. Should have wrecked our marquee, snapped our mission, and turned me over to the Gestapo with his lipstick still in my collar. That gorgeous hunk of double-cross. Now we got the proof. Let's get on with it. Okay. I guess you'd rather I... No, this is my job. Gee, she's gorgeous. Yeah. So long, honey. Thanks. You ain't so gorgeous now. Finish that handbrake, got it? Come on, shove. Not yet. Keep that steering wheel straight. The river's deepest right at the center of the bridge. Yeah. Now, high right on the wheel. You know something, Ed? Yeah? I think she finally did gather that armful of stars. Sure, the operation was successful. When the time came, our roadblocks tied 3 German divisions while Patton rolled on to the east. But I still lie awake at night thinking I should have married that dame. Yeah, the operation was successful, but the patient died.
Operation Fleur de Lis was written, directed, and produced by William N. Robeson, with Jack Webb as Duke, Elliot Lewis as Hill, Peggy Weber as Renee, and Harry Bartell as Alcine. Operation Fleur de Lis was based on an incident from the files of the OSS, recorded in Sub Rosa by Stuart Alsop and Thomas Braden. The special musical score was conceived and conducted by Cy Pure. Escape is presented by CBS and its affiliated stations each week at this time. Next week, we invite you to escape with F. Scott Fitzgerald in his unforgettable story, The Diamond as Big as the Ritz. And so, good night, until next week, when again it will be time to escape. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Thank you for listening to HOJO Radio. We'll be back again very soon.